I'm telling you, champ. I think NBA is a battle with the MVPs with Embiid, Luca. It's going to be a really good. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to win the MVP this season. But right now, I still have Embiid, but I wouldn't discount Luca just yet.
Yeah, he
He.
playing lights out.
Oh, did you see that Christmas game against Phoenix?
Man. Whoo! Like I said, it won't surprise me if he win one or two during his career.
Oh, he's that gifted. He's that skilled. That's why a lot of people call him Larry Bird or Luka Magic. But when you see a guy 6'7", 6'7", 6'8", he's great, especially like around the paint with the passing, the mid range. I wish he was a better 3-point shooter, better free throw shooter, but offense, he's got the bag. Offensively, can pass, can handle, he can do it all. He's fun to watch, man.
Very
He's
fun to
fun.
watch.
Yeah, very fun to watch, and I mean, he's taking the league by storm. I think this is going to be. I think I would love to see Dallas compete. I don't know if they're going to make it to the conference finals. At best case, conference semis. But
Hmm.
I can't wait to see him come postseason time. Because come postseason time, he's going to put it on the show.
Yes, he is. I just wish he lose some more weight though. I don't think he spent a lot of time in the weight. Mhm.
No, I mean he looks a lot better than what he was heading
Last
on
year.
to the season. What up, casual?
Oh man,
Yo,
What's up,
what's
man?
up, casual?
what's going on, OG?
Nothing, just chilling out, man. Just waiting and everything. Hanging with PSP, watching the Chicago Bears documentary that came out about a year or so ago.
Damn. The
Tough.
hell? What? Wait, what's Chicago need to make a documentary about?
The '85 Bears.
That's the year when they won the Super
I
Bowl.
I keep hearing about. I be hearing about them, but I don't know what they did.
Yeah, they had one of the best defenses in the NFL history. They was I mean, they had I think they had like 75 sacks that year. So
Yeah.
So let me ask you, what is the best defense like in NFL history? Like, what teams have had the best defense in NFL history?
if you want me to be honest with you, and I'm not going to take too long, it was the Grits Blitz from the 1970s. I think it was 1977 Atlanta Falcons. They
Mm,
only allowed 110 points the whole season,
God
and they
damn.
allowed like 9.2 points a game in a 14 game season. But the reason they don't get a lot of credit for it because they didn't make the playoffs.
Mhm. Some would argue the 85 Bears, some would argue the 2000 Ravens, other teams, but they should definitely take into consideration.
Right.
But anyway, folks, welcome to another episode of the Sports PSP podcast. I'm your host, Sports PSP. Got my man Casual. How you doing,
Yo,
man? And
man, good. Just getting ready for this. Getting ready for this new rebrand reveal on Sunday. So busy week, busy week.
congratulations. That's what's up.
Congrats.
Thank you.
And of course, I got my man, Undisputed World Champ. He's got a podcast coming soon, folks. Stay tuned. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. You see it right up under there, Undisputed GOAT. We're going through branding and everything right now. So be on the lookout for that and just getting everything together. Thanks, PSP, for
Shit.
always having me on, brother.
As always.
Congratulations to me, man. Congratulations to you. What the hell?
Yeah, I've been keeping it quiet, bro. I just been keeping it quiet.
No, man. What? Nah, we posting that. We posting that on both our social medias. I'll tell you that right now.
As always, champ, it's a pleasure. But anyway, speaking of the Phoenix Suns, let's talk about one Kevin Durant. According to a report from ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, Kevin Durant is reportedly frustrated. This is what from Adrian Wojnarowski. It starts with Kevin Durant. You talk to people in Phoenix and around that organization can feel the frustration with Durant. Part of that is certainly the missed games of Bradley Beal. This team was built around those stars. The underwhelming support that comes from those massive trades for Durant and Bradley Beal that really gutted the organization and left them having a lot of minimum players to fill out the payroll. And then understanding the lack of assets, the draft picks, the trade capital to go out and really improve this team. This is something they're going to have to manage in Phoenix with Kevin Durant. You've seen it before, and it reminds you, it's a stark reminder of how short of a window and how this team has to win big, and they have to win big quickly based on how it was constructed. Having Kevin Durant still play at an all NBA level and a healthy Kevin Durant, there's a lot at stake for this organization. It's got to change soon. Okay, so you heard the report from ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Champ, Brandon Jennings, he went on his podcast. He suggested, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if he went on Gilbert Arenas' podcast or some other podcast, but he suggested that it's unfair to Kevin Durant, that he should leave. What do you make of the whole news regarding KD?
Well, I'm going to ask, let me answer that question by posing another to the entire panel of us three of it. Haven't we seen this story before?
OG, don't steal my thunder. Don't steal my thunder.
I'm just asking.
Oh,
Haven't we seen this story before? And you have to ask yourself this, and I hate to bring another player into this, but if this were LeBron, what would we be saying right now? If this were LeBron, every 2 years, this is like, in the great words of DMX, get locked up every 2 years for 2 years. How many times do we have to hear this story? In Brooklyn, unhappy. Now you're in Phoenix, you're unhappy. I mean, going all the way back to the Golden State, unhappy. You win the championship. So what if they saying that you came into a situation like Golden State? In reality, they came to get you. So, I mean, at that point, you should be sticking your chest out if a championship team come and get you, considering you had them down 3-1. But we've seen this story time and time again. Brooklyn, I'm frustrated. Phoenix, now I'm frustrated again. Now, I understand because of the injuries and everything like that. But again, I mean, all of this frustration. How many times can one player get traded? We've seen this with James Harden. And if you really want to argue with it, the only difference between James Harden and KD at this point is KD managed to play well throughout all of these grievances that he's had. But if you really want to argue about both of them being malcontents, you could really argue the same. I mean, you punched your ticket out of one place into another, and everybody thought, excuse me, and everybody thought that this was going to be like a dream team. Now, things don't go your way, you're frustrated again. When does it stop?
There you go. Casual?
Damn, you stole my thunder, OG.
My bad, Casual, my bad.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. So a few things that I take from him complaining. One, I think it's funny to me that he's doing this complaining when his situation is not nearly as worse as some of the other teams in the NBA. I think a legit argument can be made if there was ever a season where a star could complain. I think Stephen Curry could come out and complain. I think the situation with Draymond and Klay Thompson not playing up to par, a lot of their questionable trades during the offseason, sort of not panning out to having, necessarily the necessary impact that you would like. I think Stephen Curry could complain. I think to a certain degree, I think Joel Embiid could have complained. Even with Tyrese Maxey playing the way he is, I think we all agree that to trade James Harden to the Clippers and to get the pieces that they got, albeit playing fine, I think Joel Embiid could have complained the fact that they didn't bring another star to pair alongside him and Tyrese Maxey. So I think that it's funny that he is always the one that's voicing his frustrations about situations that he in, when year after year, like, he's not even in the worst position possible. I think Luka could have complained. Doing early in the season when Kyrie was out, I think Luka could have complained. Like, a lot of these teams, a lot of these players that are better than him could have complained, but they didn't. So that's one. Two, Kevin Durant. Let's just be honest, everybody. Kevin Durant is a phenomenal player. He is a superstar. He's a top 10 player in the world. He's a phenomenal scorer. He is good at rebounding. After that, what he got? Playmaking? Are you guys moved by his playmaking?
Not so much.
Him as a defender. Are you moved by him as a defender?
At this point, no.
Okay, so what did you expect was going to happen when you're basically on a team where, unless you're LeBron James, there's very little that you could have done to make this outcome any less miserable than it has been so far in these. How many games have they played? So far in these 30 games. What did you expect? What you thought Grayson Allen was going to turn into the playmaker for you, because the chance that you had to develop some type of playmaking ability, you ditched that responsibility so that you could essentially just coast into a championship and let Draymond and Stephen Curry take care of the playmaking duties. So you don't have that development on your side. Defensively, I want everybody to understand he only has 3 years that he's been a positive defensively. Other than that, he's average. Every other time, people love to talk about how Kevin Durant has no weaknesses. This season should explain to you guys why that is just simply not true. Devin Booker had to pick up the slack as a playmaker because Kevin Durant is just not that guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's how bad this situation is. They have a whole bunch of players essentially filling in a role that they're just not they're not meant for. And that's the unfortunate part. That's the unfortunate part. And so when it comes to this situation, I'm looking at Kevin Durant playing phenomenal as a scorer. As a scorer is phenomenal, and even averaging 1.1 blocks that's great. But when you actually watch the Phoenix Suns defensively, he's not good enough. He's just not good enough to impact on that side. And to be respectful, the Phoenix Suns' problem is not the fact that they're lacking in scores. They have Eric Gordon, who still at this point in his career is a solid scorer. They have Yusuf Nurkic, who still at this point in his career is a solid post scorer. They still have Devin Booker. Grayson Allen, from my Bucks, is a good to great 3-point shooter. He's shooting 45% on 5 attempts this year. So they're fine in the scoring category. And KD, not saying that he's not the leader in that sense, the scorer, but after that, what else is he bringing to you? Because it's not the lead facilitator. No, that job goes to Devin Booker. It's not defensively. No, that job goes to Josh Okogie. That job goes to Keita Bates-Diop. That job goes to those guys. All he has to do is score the ball. And again, as I've been saying, in every situation he's been in, it all falls on the fact of that decision he made 7-8 years ago to leave from the Oklahoma City Thunder, where he could have developed into being even more of a potent offensive player. He could have continued to develop as a playmaker. He could have continued to develop as a player to be able to dribble in traffic much more consistently without turning over the ball. He could have did all that. But he chose to go the easy route, and now he's paying the price now.
My thing with the whole KD situation is, what do you expect? You lost some pieces. Devin Booker has, to your point, Casual, has been taking the load as far as with the passing and the playmaking. So you can't really ask much from Devin Booker. Yeah, KD's still giving you buckets. He's still giving you 30. But outside of that, what is he really giving you? Like, in terms of the decision, the 2016 decision, hey, look, if he felt like he wanted to go elsewhere, that's fine. But to your point, he chose the easy way out. Now he's realizing when he goes somewhere else, it's not as easy as you think. It's a lot more difficult. I just don't know with Kevin Durant at this point. reportedly being frustrated, but we've heard this before. So it's no surprise. It's not an accident. Should we feel sorry? Not really much so. So I think with KD, I don't really. I mean, this is who he is. So I don't really expect much at this point. He's still a great player, still top 10. I have him around 7th, 8th, 9th, between that 7, 10-ish range. But I just think he needs to be more reasonable, more rational. Because at this point with Phoenix, they're not competing. They're 17th defensively. They're 17th in the NBA right now at this point. Um, I just think that he just needs to change his expectations and just go from there. But I think with Kevin Durant at this point, it's proven that Golden State, they can succeed with and without him. That's how I feel. All right, let's move on to a next subject. I really don't want to talk about this, but I must. And that is the Detroit Pistons.
Ah, yeah.
28 consecutive losses. And they just lost last night to the Boston Celtics. They were up like 19 to 21 points, and it took until overtime for the game to be over. Casual, I'm gonna let you go first. What is
OG.
why not you? What's the problem?
Because I need to get my emotions straight. Detroit is my young team, so it hurts me having to talk about them right now, man. I'm emotionally vulnerable, and I need to cry a little bit. OG.
All right, Casual. Casual's a little bit emotional right now, but we're gonna give him a second. Champ, what's going on in
I'll
Detroit?
be brief, but I'll give Casual the time he needs, brother. Got you. I I'm speechless at this point because even some of the most bottom tier teams will get you at least one or two. Will get you at least to like 10 wins around this time of season. They'll be bad, but I can't think of a team in memory that has been this bad. I mean, other than an expansion team. And the Coach Monty has gotten all this money to go try to recapture the magic that he did with the Phoenix Sun, leading them to the finals and to the playoffs several times over the course of the last couple of years. Cade Cunningham was supposed to be back. I There's so many problems to pinpoint, but you just can't pinpoint one. And that is the problem that I'm seeing with this team in particular. You just can't pinpoint one. And you have to ask yourself this, which is probably a hot take for me, probably the hottest take you're ever going to see from me. Is our heads going to roll as far as someone getting fired after this year if this continues? Because you keep losing like this, it looks like you're only going to win 10 games.
Mm.
You haven't won at all in November. Looks like you about to go, unless they have a game before New Year's. Look like you about to go into the New Year winless.
They got a game tomorrow.
They got a game tomorrow, and if you don't win tomorrow, look like you're finna go into the New Year winless. So you got to ask yourself: is heads gonna roll at this point? Because hey, they hired Coach Monty, in order to come in and do what he did in Phoenix. Now, granted, this is a very, very young team with Cade Cunningham and some of the other young stars that they have, but we did not envision it being like this. I just have to be honest with you. I did not envision it being like this.
All right. Casual, you want to go or you want Leaf to go?
Okay, I'll be unbiased. Detroit Pistons are tanking. The reason that I know they're tanking because Ausar Thompson's minutes have went haywire since the last game of November. They played the Knicks, and it jumped off. He's flunked all the way down to 13 minutes, and ever since, they have been messing with his minutes. I don't know who. I don't know if it's Monty Williams. Well, no, I know Monty Williams is the one that has to do it, but I don't know who's making him do it. But Ausar Thompson is essentially being sabotaged because going into the month of November, everybody was praising, if not anything, the fact that Ausar Thompson was the only rookie that we can remember that's a guard that's averaging 10 plus rebounds. And since then, they haven't given enough minutes for him to do it. Now, in the small minutes that they have given, he has still grabbed a shit ton of rebounds. But like essentially, like what's made them like potent against the teams like Charlotte and Chicago, those are the two games that they won, and even the games that they lost, like the game against Portland that they lost early on in November, they could have won that game. But his minutes got stripped. So I'm pretty sure if I do much more like looking into, there's other players that's probably gotten their minutes played with. And so that's where I think the source comes from. It makes me sick because a lot of this could have been avoided. Having a lineup where you're playing Cade along with Asor, along with Ivy, and the only force spacer is, I think his name is Isaiah Stewart, and Jalen Duren. That's a nasty lineup, one. And two, I don't understand what that's supposed to do because that's not the best defensive lineup that they could have put out. And that's not the best offensive lineup that they could have put out, obviously. So I don't really understand exactly what the hell it is that Detroit is trying to do other than they're tanking. That's the only logic that I could come up with. They're trying to get another big pick out of next year's draft. I don't know why, because to my knowledge, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, but next year's draft is not supposed to be, that impactful on any roster. So I don't know why they're doing that, but nonetheless.
All right. Leaf, you want to go?
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I ain't think nobody's seen it get this bad. I mean, if you would have seen the way that this team came into the season, they came in with a lot of fire, a lot of spunk, man. Like they a lot of energy. Kay Cunningham returned back into the lineup in the beginning of the season. They started 2-1, and they were showing signs of they could possibly kind of be. I kind of seen them the same way I seen the Houston Rockets a little bit in terms of getting a new coach and just implementing a lot of energy and being better defensively. But to what Casual was saying, I don't understand what type of lineups they was running. At a certain point, they had Durant and Stewart starting, and neither one of them is spacing the floor for you. And of course, they had Asar. I think at the either at the 2 or the 3. I remember, if I remember, a couple of lineups. Most of the time,
The 3.
Yeah, at the 3. Most of the time, Bogdanovich was out. He was one of their best offensive players. Ivy has been the odd man out. Obviously because Kay Cunningham has been back, but I don't think him and Kay Cunningham could play together. Haven't seen
That's what it is. You're right. Keep going.
Haven't seen too much of Marvin Bagley. Haven't seen too much Wiseman. I haven't when they had Wiseman out when they went on to start the season. They played him last night. It's a lot of guys on that roster. I just don't know where they fit. And I'm looking at the roster and looking at the lineups. I'm saying to myself, I'm like, these lineups is just all off, man. Like you got guys just out of place on the court. I think that's probably the major key to their problem. And now, granted, it's probably been and I haven't watched too much Detroit Pistons basketball, but it's probably been a lot of times during the streak where they had games won. I don't know what went wrong, but if I had this go off and say one thing, it's probably the lineups, because a lot of these guys just don't fit with each other or don't fit in the same place with each other, man. Casual talked about Asar Thompson being out of the lineup. Ivy has been the odd man out, in my opinion, all along, because Ivy, I thought he was showing signs that he could possibly be the one of the lead guards for this team. I think they was playing Killian Hayes to start because of defensive reason. He was playing a little bit better defensively, but that was about it. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know how you fix this.
I just found it out. I was doing the homework because you said something that literally just triggered up.
What's that?
They've been playing around with Asor Thompson's minutes because they've been trying to figure out who to pair alongside Cade. So get this. So
Hmm.
hold on, let me go to it. So from the game from early November all the way up to like the middle of December, right?
Right.
Killian Hayes took all of Asor Thompson's minutes. So
Mm.
Asar was sort of banging on like 15 to 25, maybe
Wait.
some
Hold on.
games
Wait,
30.
wait. Before you continue, wait. I thought Killian Hayes and Asar Thompson was starting at the same at the 2 and the 3.
Nope. Nope, because Asor Thompson got moved out because they started putting Bogey in because they needed Monty
Right,
Williams
because
liked him
Bogey
more.
came back. Right, because
Hmm.
Bogey had came back.
So
That's what it was.
Bogey got the 3
So
spot
wait,
along
Killian
with
Hayes, but Killian Hayes, if I'm not mistaken, Killian Hayes had the starting lineup on opening night. With
nope. That was I think it was Cunningham, Ivy, and Asor. And then it went
oh
Killian, Cade, and Bogey. And then most recently,
Bogey came back. What game?
Bojan came back. Bojan came back. Let me check to make sure. But if I'm correct,
I
I
know
think
he was injured like for at least the
Bojan
most of the
came back
first
in
month.
Bojan came back in the middle of November. I'm gonna
Middle of
check to make
November.
sure.
Okay.
Bojan came back. Yes, he came back against Cleveland. No, he came back against Cleveland on the 2nd of December. So yeah, he came back
Right.
in
So he
December
missed
and
the
he's been
first
starting
month.
since then.
Okay.
Yes. He's been playing since then. So it was let me see. It was Cade, Ivy,
Killian
Asor.
Hayes.
Then it was Killian. No. Killian Hayes was coming off the bench then. But
Right.
then it was Killian Hayes who took Asor's minutes because I don't quote me on it, but I think Ivy probably took his minutes. And then Bogey came back, and now Cade and Ivy, and Cade, Ivy, and Bojan, because since Milwaukee, Ivy has been playing nothing less than 28 minutes a game.
So all right. So let me make sure I got this right. So the beginning of the season, Ivy
Mm-hmm.
got replaced for Killian, and
In the
then
beginning of the season, Ivy and Asor had they were the starters, and then
right,
Ivy got his minutes stripped so that
Ivy got
Killian
his
Hayes
minutes
could do that.
stripped for Killian.
I remember that because everybody was wondering why take Ivy off when Ivy was actually getting busy to start the year off.
Right.
And then
Asor got his minutes switched out after a month from Bogey,
Yep.
and then they at the same time they were still playing Stewart and Jalen Duran at the 5 and the 4. They didn't play Bagley. I don't know where Bagley minutes was. I don't know where
They've been playing with, I ain't gonna lie to you, the center spot, they've been playing with those minutes since the beginning of the season. James Wiseman will start sometimes, and then you'll have Marvin Bagley come and take more minutes. Like Jalen Duran for the majority of the season starts, but they would play with his minutes. If I'm correct, he started the season out playing like 25 minutes, and like it gradually went up, but it wasn't because like he was on a minutes restriction or nothing like that. Like Monty Williams is doing some shit where he's like, yeah, he played 30 minutes. He played 30 minutes and then it went down to 27. And then so far this month, he's been playing 33. Well, since he's come back.
And I guess to finish my point, I think listen, I'm hitting the nail right on the head, man. Like it's just they don't have any guys in set roles on that team. It's kind of like my team over here. We don't have any guys in set roles, and we starting to get that together. Even though we lost just now to the Wizards, which I just recorded a whole 2 hours of, man. But they don't have any guys in set roles. They were trying to figure out what guys fitted, and they didn't. I didn't think they needed to change too many things. They had guys coming back from injuries. Asar Thompson was playing well. You had Ivy who was playing well, and then you replaced them, and then you had Asar Thompson who was playing well, then you replaced them. This creates divide. You know what I'm saying? Like especially when you just move guys aside for other guys just because they're on money deals and they're on contract deals or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So or whatever the case may be, what it was or how they got in, but they got to figure out what lineups work, man. That's been the major thing. It's just been they've just been switching the lineups and playing around with the lineups too much. It hasn't
So
been no
OG
consistency.
OG PSP, I want to ask y'all a question. So what is this? What this? Not forget the record. The way that the Detroit Pistons have been playing, and especially like now, like
They're
understanding how
poorly
the rotation's been
constructed.
played with.
They're
What?
poorly constructed.
Yeah. How? What does this say about Monty Williams?
It just tells me that Monty Williams. I want to keep it short and simple because I want to let Champ and Trey give their opinion. It just tells me coming into the season, kind of like with Leaf, I had expectations for them to improve. I thought Monty's taking $78 million. I thought how he was going to handle with this team, but when you look at it, it's just poorly constructed. Mars has been on the money with his assessment about James Wiseman, and he's just not that good. I'm just being very nice, very generous when I say that. I look at Isaiah Stewart. I mean, he's a role player. He's not going to give you that much space, not that much separation. It's just very disappointing because you would think that this team, they would improve. I didn't think they would be this awful. And it's just that bad. And it's just really sad and really disappointing to say the least. And it's going to take them a lot of time in order for them to improve. What's going to happen? Who knows? But only time will tell. But Champ, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I got a question for the panel. Now, Casual, I heard you say earlier that they were tanking, but I've been watching a little bit of college basketball here and there. Who exactly would they be taking for? Because I just heard you say there's, from what I'm seeing right now, because I could be wrong because I'm paying attention to a lot of sports at one time. Who is the quote unquote world beater in this draft, or could this draft be just as bad as the 2000 NBA draft?
There's that big man, Alex Starr. I think he plays in like
Cooper
Atlanta.
Flag. Cooper Flag. That's the only logical thing that I could find
Mm.
is the
That
reason why
it?
they're doing this. Cooper
All right.
Flag. That's the only name I can think of.
Cooper Flag, who he play for right now?
Duke.
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 Okay, so
Yeah.
he's coming out after 1 year.
I don't know. That's why but that's the only logical thing. Like I need to do some research on like the college players that's going to enter into the draft or that's likely to enter into the draft, but none of them I'm pretty sure are.
They don't really stand out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
none of them are impactful enough to regard a certain that level of incompetence, because the rotational pieces that I saw go up against the Boston Celtics, it amazes me how you blow a 20-point lead or a damn near 20-point lead.
I
And
think it
then
was
you
20,
watch.
21. They was up almost
Yeah.
at 21. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you actually go back and you watch the game, it makes all the sense in the world, because again, you're going to put out a lineup of Cade with Ivy, with Asor, with Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Durant. That the only floor spacer on that team is Bojan. Not Bojan, is Isaiah Stewart. And Kay Cunningham.
Isaiah Stewart is a floor spacer
I mean, he's shooting like 40-something%.
from three.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Stewart is. Oh wow.
Last time I checked, let me check and make sure.
But how many
But-
threes is he attempting? though?
How many threes is he attempting?
Is it like
me
a
see, let me
clip
see.
of threes? Or is
Let
it
me
like,
see. I'm finna tell you right now. Isaiah Stewart is shooting 39.8, so damn near 40 on 3.5 attempts.
that's
Ayo
not,
responded,
enough.
imagine spending money on James Wiseman. I think he meant James Wiseman and Kevin Knox, thinking they will be useful.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, man. It's just, I think it's just been a total fumble, like by the not just by the coaching staff with these lineup changes
The organization, you mean?
in the front office and the organization, man. I don't know. They basically put a whole bunch of contract players before upcoming rookies and young players, bro. Like it's a bad influx. The Knicks did this a couple of years ago when they had Kevin Knox and they had just got Julius Randle for that first year. They had a whole bunch of fours. They had a team full of fours basically, and I think that was at the same time they had Bobby Portis, and then they finally unloaded the deck when they got Wesson in the front office, and then they cleaned up their mess. We're having somewhat of the same problem with all these 3-and-D players, and we don't know exactly where to put them. But
Yeah.
Not
the thing
even
is,
is
we're actually
Yeah,
mid. Where
right.
like they're like
wasn't
it could be a whole lot worse.
you know what
Outside,
this Detroit? Oh,
out,
go ahead, Trey. Go ahead.
Yeah, we gotta let Trey
outside
speak.
of Kate, outside of Kate and Durant, I'm looking at the rest of them players. I'm like, I mean, I just it's like Wiseman,
I think a lot of those
but
players is good. Trey, Ivy is good. Like I seen Ivy play last year,
I
and if you just
mean,
seen him last year,
Ivy,
he was looking
Ivy
like he was
on a
ready to be
team
the
where
lead
he
guard of
can't
this team for
play.
the future.
Ivy
Like
is stuck on a team where he can't play like he wants to. It's like he's
right,
handcuffed.
that's true. I mean, I listen. I don't know,
I
man. It's
disagree.
just
I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
you don't think Ivy is handcuffed?
No, I don't. I think Ivy is going through a typical sophomore slump, and he's not shooting well from three, and he wasn't playing that good of defense, so it made sense to bench him. I just don't understand why fiddling with what's working on a sword's end because a sword from the jump showed you exactly what he is as a rookie. He's not a good shooter, but he's tenacious on the rebounding boards and
And he could
defensively.
defend
Yeah, defensively, I'd argue he's the best defensive rookie this year.
by far. I could definitely say that. I think Chet
So
might be second in terms
I
of
think, yeah, I think Chet technically, but I don't consider Chet
Chet
really
a
a
rookie.
rookie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't consider him really a rookie. So like that's my problem. I just don't understand why mess with the rookies that are working or the young players that are working. Like I get if Jaden Ivey, you need to bench him, and Killian Hayes has been playing good defense even though his offense is terrible. But
But that's
like,
about it.
yeah.
yeah,
That's
that's
about
about
it.
it. That's about it.
I think they said the Pistons might finish with less wins than the Lions this year, bro. Like
But
if that happens,
OG, I wanted to ask you, I wanted to
Woo, that's
answer your
bad.
question. I want to
I ain't
answer your
gonna lie, it's
question.
terrible.
The reason why I believe Detroit is doing it, the reason why I think that they're tanking is because I think that they don't believe in the young core they have. Not to mention, I don't think they want to cash out on the young players that they'll have to pay ultimately. So they're sort of trying to create a reason to be like, hey, see, this player is not playing that well, so we're not going to pay him. So because like eventually we're going to have to get
And,
into those conversations about paying Jaden Ivey. And respectfully,
yeah, and
Jaden Ivey is not good enough for the money that he's going to demand, especially when you add in the context that Cade's max extension is coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's my guy? You just got a Sword Thompson out of the draft. Killian
Hmm.
Hayes is playing good defense this year, so he's sort of putting himself back on the map as like sort of like a hopeful, a secondary piece. Jaden Ivey is going to want a starting spot, and with the way that Asor Thompson was playing, it's really really hard, in my opinion, to just like go out and just say like without no second thought, let's go Jaden Ivey. And so I think what's happening is I think that they're trying to check these players. They're trying to check these players' temperatures to see who works, who doesn't, who can maintain their excellence for a
Did we
longer
lose him?
period. Oh wait, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I
okay.
think I think they're trying to see they're trying to check the player's temperature to see who's working, who can maintain a certain level of excellence for a longer period of time, so that when it comes to the off season, they know who they can trade off of. Because best believe in the off season, they have to come off all these players. James Wiseman is gone. Marvin Bagley might be gone. And then they're gonna have to decide between whether they're gonna hold on to Bojan or not. Like there's so many players assets that they have that they could be able to push out to get some more competent pieces that make sense to play alongside Cade and Jalen Durant. But as of right now, it doesn't look like none of these pieces make sense. And I'm not even holding Monty Williams that much accountable outside of the rotational choices that are very questionable. I'm not putting much on him on this because what did y'all expect to happen from the jump? We knew that none of these players outside of maybe Cade, Bojan, and and maybe even Alec Burks, none of these players could consistently stretch the floor. So what do you expect when these niggas, lo and behold, are losing because they can't what? Stretch the floor.
That's a fact. Listen,
Leaf, we got to move on, man.
All right, cool.
All right. A couple of comments from Ayo. He says Ivy doesn't get enough consistent play. Sasser gets no minutes. Why is Alex Burks getting any minutes? Burks is a basketball terrorist. He goes further. Alex Burks has been seen literally smiling after losing these games, having a negative 25 plus or minus games, shooting 32% from the field. Burks is trash. And he also says trade Bojan. He provides actual trade value. Who's going to trade for Wiseman and Knox?
I think there is some. I don't think anybody's going to trade for Kevin Knox, but I think there could be a player there could be a team that would trade for James Wiseman. They're just a sucker every day. So James Wiseman is 7-1. So I think
that is a fact.
If anything, that somebody would trade probably like a second round pick for him.
Yep.
Trey, you want to say something?
That is a fact.
Trey, you want to say something? Come on, we gotta wrap it up, man.
I don't know where Trey went.
Y'all can go ahead and wrap that up.
All right. Casual, I want to ask you this question before we move on to a wrestling one. This is a comment. Let me see right here. This is from one of our panel dudes. I don't know if we have the question, but he asks. I don't know if I have it, but I apologize. It's Harrison. Oh wait, now I found it. He said, "Casual, I want to ask you a question. Who's a better player, JJ Redick or Paul Pierce, and explain why?"
What the hell? Paul Pierce, and it's not close. Paul Pierce.
Don't answer that. Come on, Harrison
is a
Harrison
Duke fan.
is bugging out. Yeah, Harrison is a Dookie.
Yeah, he's. We'll ignore that one.
Yeah, okay. Harrison is a Dookie, bro. Like yeah.
Oh God.
It's one of those.
Okay. All right. I'll make this a little more. Hold on. I'll make it a little more fun because that's a crazy ass question.
Please don't.
Basketball careers. No. If we're talking college, JJ Redick, because like, come on now, like JJ Redick was like he was that nigga in college.
People didn't see Paul Pierce in college for some reason, bro.
Yeah, no. Paul Pierce was nice in college, but like in Kansas, but JJ Redick in Duke, bro.
4 years.
The attention that he was getting, and he was still able to perform at a high level on consistent basis. I cannot speak enough about how great JJ Redick was in college, and he still had a great career.
No, you spitting right there. Right there.
But when it comes to the NBA, it's not even close. Paul Pierce he grew into a way better scorer, more versatile scorer, way better ball handler, way better finisher, defensively way better playmaker, but I mean it was mid, but mid is still better than JJ Redick. So like, he was just better than JJ Redick.
All right, I got my boy Brandon from the Block Podcast. Go check out his podcast every Monday night, 7 p.m.
Hello,
football.
Brandon.
And for the Wednesday one, Brandon, we got to keep it real short and quick. What are your thoughts about the Detroit Pistons?
What that man Bubba Dove say? Trash. Straight trash. They just straight garbage, bro. They are straight garbage, bro. Straight trash. Garbage, bro.
Okay.
What am I hearing?
Okay, guys, calm down. Wait, is that an echo in the building?
Yeah, that's
Yes. What am I hearing?
Yeah, that's Trey. You gotta remove Trey. Bring him back.
Yo, Trey, you gotta keep the noise out. All right, let's talk about wrestling, folks. Unfortunately, I did not come up with a start, bench, or cut for WWE. I apologize. But since we're in the new year, we're going to go by favorite wrestling moment, and we're going to try to wrap this up as quickly as possible because I want to talk about some NFL stuff. So, Leaf, I'm going to let you go first. What's your favorite wrestling moment?
Favorite wrestling moment of the year?
No, any moment in time.
Oh, any moment in time. Oh, wow. Damn. Oh wow, that
That's a good ass question.
that is a good ass question. I gotta say I was pretty all in. The Attitude Era obviously has some moments for sure, but the Ruthless Aggression Era had a moment in time that stuck with me. The night that Brock Lesnar suplexed the Big Show off the top rope and the ring imploded.
Oh
I
shit.
swear to God,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I thought honest to God, I thought that was probably the most one. I thought it was scripted, but I didn't think the ring collapsing was supposed to be scripted. I was like, wait, hold the hell up, because Big Show, mind you, Big Show at that time 500 plus easy.
Yeah.
So him getting on the top turnbuckle just to begin with was just like, wait,
Was
hold up. I know they
fantastic.
ain't about to do what I was about to do. I'm like,
Yeah.
that from that moment on, I never ever in my life, like that's when I knew Brock Lesnar was solidified. I was
That
like,
nigga.
I,
Yes.
I said, listen, there is not a soul on this planet that Brock Lesnar can't physically and
Yeah.
doing bodily harm on, bro. Like I'm telling you, bro.
Bodily
Like
harm is crazy, but he's
and
right.
bodily harm. I'm telling you, but listen, bro. When I seen that, the episode went straight off right after that because
Mhm.
it was Taz that gave the holy shit, and I think Mike Chioda was in the ring and he fell, and then they was bringing people out or whatever because I guess they had to fix the ring or whatever, but they said Brock Lesnar might have had they what they was bringing people out for. What all after the fact that I learned is that Brock Lesnar might have had a herniated disc after that. He might have had a herniated disc after that. It turns out he was fine. He just maybe had a rib injury or something like that, and then I think a couple of days later, with that same rib injury, he messed around at F5, the Big Show at an event at a live show, and then got cost the title. Paul Heyman had turned on him and whatever, but that was probably one of the most what the hell moments that I ever seen. Obviously the Mick Foley off the top of the cage come to mind, but that moment right there, I don't think a lot of people bring that moment up. That was the moment where I was just like, yo, these niggas trying to kill each other, bro. What the hell? I'm like, man, that was a moment right there, man. But I have to go with Big Show, suplex off the top of the turnbuckle and
That was
implode in the
crazy.
ring. That was out of. That's the first time I ever seen anything like that. I ain't think I ever seen it. They tried to duplicate it again years later, but with a
Oh,
Braun
with
Strowman.
Braun
Yeah,
Strowman.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the same. It didn't get the same raw. That was a raw from the crowd, bro. When they did that, bro, that was out of line. But
All right, Trey, what's your favorite wrestling moment of all time?
Favorite wrestling moment. Mm, I would have to say probably when. Hold on. Let me. Yeah, my favorite wrestling moment was when probably when John Cena his first night on Raw.
Oh, when he the draft,
Ooh,
05.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when he was the first round, when he was the first pick in the draft, and everybody was like, "Man, who's the number one pick in the draft? Who's the number one pick?"
Yeah, and you heard the theme song and stuff. Yeah, and then Jim
John
Ross
Cena is the
was like,
greatest number
"What the
one
hell?"
pick in any draft. That's my hot take.
All right.
And
Greatest
they
number
was
one pick.
like, and I remember he was like, "What?" They was like,
I
"What
still love
the hell?"
the Thugonomics era. I still love to this day, bro. I ain't gonna
Bro,
lie.
that entrance, I'm telling you, PSP, Trey is on to something. That entrance on when we found out he was the number one draft pick, that was probably the most that with how electrifying that crowd was. That's probably the one of the only times John Cena outside of the 2008 entrance in the Royal
Yes,
Rumble. That's
Mhm.
probably the only time other than that where
in terms
his
of pop,
entrance was
yeah.
as electrifying as like The Rock.
Oh yeah, by far. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can say that.
All right.
So,
Casual, I'm gonna let you go. What's your favorite wrestling moment?
I say this, and John Cena's my goat, but I say this because Randy Orton, I hated him to to my core. I
I
hated
love
him.
Brandy.
In 2000, no, not in 2007. And remember in 2007 when the storyline was he tore John Cena's pectoral off the bone,
Right,
Mhm.
right.
and he ended up
Mm-hmm.
getting granted the WWE Championship. My
Right.
Mhm.
favorite moment is that No Mercy pay-per-view when he
Mm.
lost it to Triple H and
And
got
then
it
won him
back that
back.
same
Right,
night.
that same night.
Mhm.
That I when I tell you that is like the most heelish shit I've ever seen.
It was. It definitely was
That
some
was so
hill.
disgusting, bro. That was so disgusting. But
It was
that's my
hill
favorite.
worthy, bro. And listen,
Yeah,
if I put it to you this way, bro, if you could get a title back from Triple H in less than 24 hours, bro, like you kind of solidified.
fast.
Because Triple
And
H
then
during the 2000s, bro, like it was hard to get a title off of him at any point of that decade.
but
Like
2007 was Randy. 2007 was Randy Orton's year.
it
But
was. Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
want to throw an honorable mention. 2010, and I believe it's Unforgiven. They were in a scramble match, I believe, for the World Heavyweight or the WWE Championship. And a bearded Edge, looked like a fucking caveman, comes out and wins the entire thing.
Mhm.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
All
No.
right. Champ.
All right, I'm gonna go back, way back. Go way back. Most memorable wrestling moment is when the Montreal Screwjob happened,
Oh, you mother effer.
Ooh.
because that was the turning point for so many things. Like during that time, we didn't even know. During that time, you got to think about the effects that the Montreal Screwjob had on the wrestling world. Leading
yeah,
up
it
to
did.
that, we
Yep.
didn't even know I didn't know Vince McMahon was the boss. You know, there was no internet back
Yeah,
then.
nobody
Right.
did.
The only way you knew
Nobody
is by
did.
looking through a magazine, bro, like the
Yeah, the
Wrestling
only way you
Max.
knew it is by reading Wrestlers Digest and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we didn't know he was the boss. And then, he came out with the Brett rule and that interview, and it turned Vince McMahon into a heel and springboarded arguably the greatest rivalry in history. And then it led up to the next. And if I don't know if anybody noticed, but the very next year when The Rock turned heel, he redid the Montreal
Then Nitro
Screwjob
Screwjob, yeah.
in
Yeah,
order to
against
turn The Rock
Mankind. Yeah.
heel.
They
So
going on to
without
turn the
that,
Rock.
there's no Rock versus Stone Cold heel moment in 1999 in WrestleMania and WrestleMania
15.
15. Yeah.
Right.
So, and then not to mention that was kind of the beginning of the end of WCW as well, because once they got Bret Hart and really didn't do anything with them, that was pretty much the beginning of the end for
It sure was.
WCW. It was like, hey, it was the end 3 years ago. We just didn't know it at that point.
Right.
And
They was on borrowed
unfortunately,
time. Yeah, they definitely was.
during that
My
time,
thing, and then my thing with Brett was he wants to blame Goldberg for his demise, like for him not wrestling anymore. But what people don't know is he wrestled like 3 times after that incident.
I mean, well, yeah, he did, but at the same time, it
Um,
wasn't the high contact matches outside of that. When Goldberg kicked him in the head, that was pretty much the end. Like the other matches he had after that was kind of gimmicky.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like so you didn't get the Bret Hart, the excellence of execution,
Yeah.
Bret Hart. You got Bret Hart on the back
He
end.
was, bro. I knew it was going south for him, is when they did this thing with him and Goldberg. Goldberg comes in the ring, right,
Uh-huh.
and he comes there, he just spears the hell out of him,
And then he had the
spears
metal
him into
plate.
the ground,
Yeah.
and Goldberg is knocked out. They're like, "What the world?"
And he had the metal plate.
He pulls his shirt up, and he had the metal plate on.
This I
No,
hated
no.
this nigga. I hated
Hold on,
him,
hold
bro.
on. I'm a solo screen. I'm a solo screen right here.
Bro, he was the worst, bro.
You hated Edge with the beard, bro. I hated Edge without the
Bearded
beard.
caveman Edge he was dirty, bro. That nigga was dirty, bro.
I could,
And he
yeah,
was
I
with,
could.
but he was with Vicky Guerrero.
Vicky
That was the
Guerrero
dirtiest
at
part.
the time.
Come
Yeah,
on,
that
man.
was yeah.
We won't go there, but let's let
What
Champ
you
finish.
got,
It's interesting.
PSP, man?
I'm gonna get into mine just a second, but interesting, Champ. You brought up the Montreal Screwjob. Vince I was watching the Shawn Michaels documentary. Love the A&E documentaries, legend. They only did the reason why they wanted to screw Brett because that was Brett's last match before he head on to the WCW, and so they wanted Vince took the blame for it. Shawn knew about it, and then when Brett approached Vince one punch, Vince fell on his ass just like that, man. But that was an interesting. That was a great, interesting moment, and the rivalry between Brett and Shawn. I mean, it also turned personal as well, not just in
Yeah.
the ring, but outside the
Yeah.
ring.
Oh yeah, it sure did.
Yeah.
But you want to know the irony of him of Vince McMahon saying that he didn't want to risk Bret Hart taking
Right.
the WWE title to Nitro when we all know that Bret
Oh,
Hart would have never done that to Vince. What's so ironic about that is he did that to WCW 6 years earlier when Ric Flair came.
Right.
He
Mm.
bought
Sure
the
did.
WCW title with him when Bobby Heenan brought him out and say this is the real world champion.
Right.
So I mean, you're trying to make sure the same thing, and we all knew. And if you look back on it, Bret Hart wouldn't have dared did that to Vince McMahon. I don't think
No, he wouldn't have. But champ, you got to remember, Alundra Blaze had left with the women's title from WWE,
yes.
and
I'm glad
she
you
threw
brought
it in
that
the
up.
trash on television. She threw it on television. She
Yeah.
threw it in the trash. So Vince had that on his mind and was basically like, I can't let this happen to me, because he remember how it happened to him. Remember the Ric Flair thing that you talked about with him bringing the title there? That
Yeah.
happened before that, and then I guess Alundra Blaze bringing a women's title to WCW was kind of like a reverse slap, like a slap me and I slap you back type of thing, because Eric Bischoff had called Alundra up. She was like, "Yo, I got this title," and he was like, "Oh, word, bring it." It was like, "Yo, bring it on TV," and then that's how I ended up getting thrown into the trash.
But if you
So
really think about it, look how Bret Hart didn't even want to leave
he damn sure didn't. He damn sure didn't.
So there's no doubt in my mind that he wouldn't have did. If there was a lot of people,
Brett was all
Yeah.
tradition. Brett was all
Bret Hart
tradition.
wouldn't have dared did that to Vince. I
No.
mean, I don't really think that for a second. And I'm not even in the wrestling business, but that's how loyal he was.
I know
to
for a
Vince
fact
McMahon.
Brett wouldn't have did that.
No, but Bret
He was
wouldn't have done that.
he was a consummate professional. There's no
Yeah,
question.
he wouldn't
at
have
all
done that.
times.
He just didn't
At all
like Shawn Michaels.
No, he didn't. But not a lot of people like Shawn Michaels at that time.
Yeah.
Speaking
Shawn
of-
people
Michaels
like
in the
Shawn-
90s,
Speaking
bro.
of-
Like the
speaking of
Undertaker
Shawn,
even
though.
said, bro. Like he was like, "Yo, bro, listen, in the ring, it's nobody I'd rather be with." But back then, I wouldn't. If he was on fire, man, I wouldn't throw ice cold water on him to put him out. He
Right.
said that out of his mouth.
Speaking
No,
of Shawn,
when it
though, I got a question for you, OG PSP, Leaf Trey. Shawn Michaels 90s or
Yeah.
2000s. Which one you taking?
I'm taking 90s because the thing is, Shawn
Oh,
Michaels.
that ladder match. 90s.
Yeah,
The ladder
I'm
match
taking
with him and
90s stuff.
Razor
go
Ramon,
ahead.
the ladder match. Remember
Uh-huh.
that match?
I
And then,
remember.
yeah,
The match with Diesel.
Yeah,
at
Hell in
WrestleMania.
a Cell.
Hell in a
Hell in a
Respectfully,
Cell
Hell
one.
in a Cell.
The match with
Respectfully.
the match with Mankind, but like we talking about somebody who can have a match with anybody.
Yeah, but Shawn, do you not remember Shawn in the 2000s?
I do.
Those
I
are
do.
some of the-
Look,
but-
I do. I
What?
absolutely
Okay.
do.
What?
We all
What?
do.
What? Give me the match in the 90s that you would hold as near and dear to you as that Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels match at WrestleMania 25 or 26.
Oh, that's easy. The 60-minute Iron Man match.
Yes, 60
Yeah.
That's easy. Against Bret Hart. I mean,
really?
like,
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
okay.
I mean, no. Listen.
No,
Champ,
I'm
what
li-
about
I'm
the
li-
ladder
I'm listening to you. I'm
match?
listening to you.
What about the ladder match with Razor
I want to
Ramon?
hear. I want to
Yeah,
hear your
I
reasoning.
think that one
I wanna
was
hear your
better.
reasoning.
But
think that
champ,
one was
but
better.
champ, if you're talking about something that we didn't
I
think
feel like
ever
that
could be
60-man
done.
match against Kurt Angle. That was
Yeah,
that.
I do like that match too. And Kurt Angle said that was one of his
my
greatest matches
favorite
of all
match
time.
with him in the 2000s, it got to be that 3 stages of hell with him and Triple H.
Him and Triple H.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was amazing. Like when you if I could list off for days
Bad Blood.
some of
too.
the career, not just the careers, but like some of the wrestlers in history They all like, and these are all great technical wrestlers. They all say the same thing. Shawn Michaels gave me the greatest wrestling match of my career. Undertaker
Yes.
said it. Kurt Angle says it. John Cena said it. If it wasn't for that 60-minute match on Monday Night Raw, the greatest wrestling match on television, like in television history, by the way,
Right.
John Cena would still be fighting those wrestling allegations, because at that time, y'all remember, niggas was sitting there saying John Cena ain't really that good at wrestling.
Right.
And then he goes out there, and not to say that he didn't hold his own, but if Shawn Michaels, if he does that 60-minute match with anybody else, it does not
Doesn't
come
work.
out. It does
Doesn't
not.
work.
It does not work. It does not
Doesn't
work.
work.
Shawn Michaels was doing 60-minute matches on Monday Night Raw, and then backdoor giving you a classic against a 60-year-old. Well, at the time, was he 60? Ric Flair. He was giving you a classic with Ric
Classic
Flair,
with
and then
Ric Flair.
backdoor giving you a classic with Undertaker, and then backdoor giving you a classic with Randy Orton, and then backdoor giving you a classic with Kurt Angle. Like, he was giving out bangers after bangers after bangers from
Absolutely.
2000. I think it was 2003 when he came back, all the way to the moment where he finally lost that match and he retired in 2010.
Right. And
You talking about Shawn
Okay,
Michaels?
mama.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels.
I grant
Yeah,
you
he
all.
came back.
I
He
grant you
actually
all
came
of
back
that.
in 2002.
I grant you all of
Well,
that.
he
But
came back in 2002, but it was like a camouflage. Like, he wasn't full time
I grant
until
you all of that,
2003.
but the style of wrestling that you kind of see today, mostly Shawn Michaels basically did all of that shit in the 90s.
He did all of that in the 90s. You're right.
He did all of it in the 90s, and the thing is, like, you talking about somebody. Shawn Michaels and the Undertaker was never supposed to happen, and honest to God, bro, like, that was something that was never supposed to happen, bro. Like, in '97 when they finally did it. It was reiterated by Vince every single time. Shawn versus Undertaker, never supposed to happen. The fact that he had that one match with Mankind at what was it, Mind Games in '96, classic. And that's one of the matches that gets thrown under the rug in Mankind's career, because the only thing everybody remembers is Hell in a Cell. So the thing is, you got Shawn Michaels, bro. Like, probably the worst match that he had was probably the match against Stone Cold at WrestleMania.
That wasn't really a good match to begin with, because Austin.
Shawn
Shawn Michaels had
he
had a bad back, and also he was heavily medicated.
Heavily
Not only
medicated.
that,
I think he was. Wasn't he? He had popped like.
And plus, I love Mike
say like
Tyson.
2 or
That
3
was a
firsts.
terrible. That was a terrible like,
count.
pin.
It was terrible.
Yeah, that was.
terrible count. So, yeah.
All right.
Hey,
But PSP, what's your
oh, my bad. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
what was your memory?
So
Austin 316 said, "I just whipped your ass."
King of the ring.
96 King of the Ring.
Hey,
Huh?
that started a revolution.
Stone
that
Cold
did start.
Steve Austin is my GOAT. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. The King of the Ring. It was actually supposed to go to Triple H, but he got busted for the curtain call, of
Curtain
course.
call, yeah. I
I
remember.
don't know why they held.
yeah,
They held him for
put
that
him-
because they wasn't gonna do it to Shawn.
Well,
Shawn
they-
was pretty much a made man
Yeah.
at that time.
They weren't.
Yeah.
Like, here's
Why
here's
would
why,
they-
casual. Here's why
Uh-huh.
they weren't going to punish Shawn because he was the champion, and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, they were departing WWF to go to Ted Turner's WCW. So
Right.
someone had to take the rep, and Triple H, compared to them, he had nothing at the time. They put it on him.
Right.
So
And he had the star for square one. He built himself back up.
They
Yes.
was putting him in some shit matches. I ain't gonna lie to you.
But
Yeah.
to Stone Cold, I remember he had the first match. He had to go to the hospital, had to be stitched up. He comes back into the arena, comes from the ambulance. He talks to Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes informs him that Jake the Snake Roberts is doing a promo. Austin asked him what exactly did he say, and he used Bible verses. So Austin decided to do that, and then after the match, which he was going to win, he said, Austin 316 said, "I just whipped your ass." And then the next day, the Austin 316s,
Revolution.
the shirts and the stuff. My other favorites
still so hot to this day.
to this
But-
day. I mean, but to this day, and my other favorite Stone Cold Steve Austin moment, and I was talking to Champ before we went on the air, the hospital. The one
Oh,
with
yeah,
Mr.
yeah,
McMahon.
the bedpan when he hit him upside the head with the
Boy, he
bedpan.
beat the
Dog, the
crap out of Mr.
sound, dog, it
The
wasn't even the
bedpan
fact that he hit him upside the head. The sound that the bedpan made when he hit him,
Yeah.
made.
it was just like,
He basically, oh yeah, that was the night that Socko was introduced to the world.
Of
I remember
course.
that. Yeah.
Hey,
Of course.
go back and
yeah,
look at.
you said,
Go ahead. Go
yeah,
back and
but
look
you
at King
said,
of the Ring. Because they had a match. Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold had a match when they were tag team champions at King of the Ring.
Right.
Yeah.
They
Go
sure
back.
did in
So
'97.
go back and look at that match. That was better than the WrestleMania match that they.
It was better than the
No
rest of
question
the
Yeah,
about
but
it.
his okay. OG PSP. Tell me if I'm crazy with this. This is my theory. I feel like I agree with Lee from the standpoint that what Shawn Michaels did back in the '90s heavily influenced the Seth Rollins of the world in this era. Heavily
Absolutely.
influenced the Mustafa Ali's of this era. Heavily
Mustafa
influenced those
Ali,
type of
AJ
people, right?
Styles, all of them.
AJ Styles, all of them all benefited heavily. The John Morrisons of the world, all of them benefited
Johnny
from
Gargano. Yeah,
what Shawn
all
Michaels
of them.
did, right? But this is my theory.
Daniel Bryan.
I feel like the wrestling style that he did in the '90s was not conducive to having classic matches nearly as much as the technical savvy that he was in the 2000s. The technical wrestling that he added along with what we call now as indie style wrestling, he blended the two into something that was conducive to where he could be able to wrestle Kurt Angle on one night, and then he put on a classic with Shelton Benjamin the night after. Like
Oh,
he was
yeah.
able to do it with both. He was able to, and that's why I think the 2000s Shawn Michaels is the greatest Shawn Michaels that we ever saw, because he was doing the indies. He was doing some of the stuff that we saw AJ Styles do on TNA on Thursdays. He was doing that on Mondays, and then on the pay-per-view, he would get into a technical masterclass with the likes of Kurt Angle. He did it with Chris Jericho. He was able to do it with Triple H, The Undertaker. Like he was able to do it throughout the 2000s to where like
I'm a slow.
in my
I'm a slow.
personal
I'm gonna
opinion,
interject this in a second. Go ahead.
in my personal opinion, outside of the Bret Hart match and outside of the match that he had with what's my guy Razor Ramon, outside of
Yes.
those two matches, his greatest hits are all in the 2000s.
I'm
What
gonna
do y'all
give.
think?
I'm gonna give you a list of opponents in the '90s that he had top, I guess, minimum 4-star matches with: Diesel, Vader,
Okay.
Undertaker.
Undertaker. Undertaker. Okay.
Undertaker in the '90s. Who else? Yokozuna.
Okay.
We talking about like 300 to 400 something plus pound dudes, bro.
Mhm.
And if you know anything about the '90s and them big dudes, they was hella athletic, and Shawn Michaels was able to not only keep up with them, and still do a lot of acrobat stuff with them in the ring. Obviously, it's somewhat easier. People would say, I was watching. Shawn Michaels was body slamming the Undertaker back in the in the '90s. He was body slamming.
And Leaf, when he fought
Kevin
Bret the
Nash.
Hitman Hart, he had to wrestle on a torn ACL.
And the torn ACL, yes, and the matches that he had, against Bret Hart back in those days, almost mirrors the match that he had against Kurt Angle, who was one of my favorite wrestlers. That 60-minute match paved the way for a match like that match against Kurt Angle, and it was a damn good match, man. Kurt Angle during that time could do no wrong. If we just talking about just wrestling, it's very few guys in the history of wrestling that we've seen on TV that could even come close to Kurt Angle.
I get what you're saying, and you pointing out 3, 4, 5-star matches even, but the matches that he had in the 2000s,
I'm pointing out matches with big guys.
Hold on, guys. Let Casual finish.
They may go down as one of the greatest matches of all time. Some of these matches the match he had with Undertaker in WrestleMania 25 that might go down as one of the greatest matches of all time. The match that he had with John Cena on Monday Night Raw, that is the greatest televised wrestling match of all time. The match that he had with Shelton Benjamin is like probably the most played Shawn Michaels moment. Shelton Benjamin moment as well. Monday Night
Yes, it
Raw
is.
moment of all
Yeah,
time.
that
That super
probably
kick,
is.
yeah,
That
when
super
Shelton
Yes, that
kick.
Benjamin
super
is
kick
jumping
off the
off the
top of the
top
rope.
rope.
Yes.
That
So
super
you know what I'm
kick was
saying? Like
executed
these like I'm
properly.
not I think and when it comes to 90 Shawn Michaels 2000, both of them are all-time great wrestlers. I just feel like the 2000s was his greatest hits. The 90s was like the introduction to, hey, he's a top 5 wrestler of all time. 2000 cemented him as like a top 3,
All
and it's
right.
not a discussion.
And that's fair at the time too, because
Mm-hmm.
he was a lot healthier compared to what he was
Facts.
in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to Jim Ross. Even while he was off from the WWE in terms of wrestling, he got paid $750K a year.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he actually admitted that. Jim Ross actually admitted that, champ. So Shawn Michaels
Mm-hmm.
was still getting
Sure did.
paid even for not doing anything at that
Not a
time.
damn thing.
I think he
But
said, didn't he said Vince McMahon wanted to take care of Shawn Michaels even when
he
he
wanted
fired him.
to because how
Yeah.
highly he viewed Shawn, and they were afraid of Shawn leaving the WWF for the WCW. And
Yeah.
then for that SummerSlam match, casual him and Triple H,
Mm-hmm.
that was, I mean, for him to do that 4 years away from wrestling, oh my God, man.
Yeah.
But Shawn, as Ric Flair said, man, greatest in ring wrestler ever.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
By
that's
Hey,
far.
ridiculous.
the man
By
literally
far.
came out there and wrestled this dude in a tank top and jeans.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He definitely. Hey,
but
He did do that.
while we
but
He
at it,
did do that.
we gotta move on to
before
NFL, Leaf. We gotta move on to NFL,
before I
Leaf.
move on, I just want to say one more thing. We're coming up on the 10th year anniversary of the end of the Undertaker streak, and WrestleMania
Yeah,
comes around the
Yeah.
time. WrestleMania is basically my birthday. I'm like literally around that first week of April. I'm born like the first week of April, so WrestleMania time.
man, it's gonna be great. I
Yes,
mean,
it is. But we're coming up on the 10th anniversary of arguably one of the most oh, what the hell just happened moments in
yeah, I still
wrestling.
remember that big dude with the glasses when he was shocked with the
Yeah,
Undertaker.
I don't think anybody in an
He kind of
arena
champ. I mean, he kind of looked like your brother a little bit.
and they,
Hell nah. Hey, OG, chill out. Chill out,
oh
OG.
No,
no.
he good, man. We all friends here, man. We can take a joke. No,
It's all good. I'm just playing with you.
it's all good,
Nah,
man.
but
But anyway, go ahead, Leaf. Come
the
on, we gotta
10th,
move on to
we coming
football,
up
man.
on the 10th year anniversary of the end of the Undertaker streak and the match that made Brock Lesnar literally a made man for life in the history of this business. So yeah,
Wasn't he
that's what
already a
we're coming
made
up
man?
on.
I know it
He was a made man.
intensified at
Yeah, I
Leaf.
disagree. He was a made man. He was a made man already.
I mean,
Yeah,
but this literally made him like
Better.
literally close
I think it made the
to
Undertaker's
instant.
name more universally known. But as far as like wrestling community, I think that before the streak was like
over.
broadcasted as like this. No, before the streak was broadcasted as this big deal, he was already known as one of the greats.
Right. And casual, let me ask you this question before we move on. Would
Yeah.
you say the Brock Lesnar match against Undertaker when Brock Lesnar ended the streak, would you say that's a better match than Undertaker with Shawn Michaels or with Triple
Hell
H?
no.
No,
Right.
Oh, again,
no.
yeah, even where he went up against Triple H and Shawn Michaels was a special guest referee. Hell no.
Either, yeah, both of those matches with Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah,
Right.
no. Hell
Right.
no.
I
Right.
think
Yeah.
those last four matches
I
against
personally
Triple
feel
H and
like
Shawn Michaels was like his last breath. Like I think the
I
Undertaker's last breath was
I
like
personally felt
top
I felt like
matches.
the Undertaker. I felt like if the Undertaker was going to have the streak broken, it should have only been to 3 people. It should have been either Shawn Michaels at either 25 or 26. It should have been Triple H at 27 or 28, or it should have been CM Punk. Those are the only ones that I thought were viable to break his streak.
Not Roman.
No, I didn't know Roman. When Roman gave him
Not
his
even
second
Cena?
L, I was pissed.
Not even Cena.
Nah, because I
Cena,
think that
Cena
would
was
have
never
hurt Cena
supposed to
more than it
wrestle.
helped Cena.
Yeah.
Because Cena was known as Super Cena at that time.
Oh
So
yeah,
Cena
that's
would
right.
have Cena would have beat Undertaker. Imagine how much flack he would have got for doing that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Alright.
I think
But
Brock
anyway,
was okay with it being booed, but like, I mean,
no,
But
Brock,
I
now
think they
now
would
Brock
have
can
done
get the
that.
respect.
But
Brock's
I think if they
mentality
would have
is I
done
don't
it,
give a fuck. That's
Yeah,
who Brock
Brock
is.
did. Brock didn't give a damn. Brock
Brock,
Yeah,
gave two fucks.
Brock gives no damns.
yeah. But anyway, Trey, one last thing before we got to move on to football, bro.
yeah. But I think it would have. You know who the one guy who I felt that came close, who I really thought that was gonna beat him. I actually thought Batista was gonna beat him. I'm like,
Oh
man,
yes, he is, bro. He's
I'm not gonna
cooking.
lie, Batista did. Batista did put up a
That was
hell of
close
a
though.
He is
fight.
cooking. Trey
I
cooked.
think Edge was asked did he want to break the streak. He immediately vetoed it. He said no.
OG. Like that WrestleMania 23 matchup between Batista and Undertaker. You know he should have won that.
I've been watching Undertaker since he came out, bro. I didn't want the streak to end, but we'll move on from there. I cursed out the entire
yeah.
TV.
And I didn't want Batista to lose
I
that
didn't
World
want the
Heavyweight
streak to end
Championship.
at all. I wanted that
Oh
What
my
can-
should have been alive forever. Like,
Yeah.
just-
And that was the crazy thing about that John Cena versus HBK match was right after that. It was like, damn, how he gonna top that?
But hey, listen, man, they don't call Shawn Michaels Mr. WrestleMania for nothing. So.
That's good.
But anyway, folks, we got to move on to some football casual. I know football is your expertise, but we all know who you're leaning towards too.
Actually, you know what? I want to give it a shot. I'll give me 5 minutes. I'll listen with y'all cook a little bit. I think I might be able to add something to the topic.
All right.
I doubt it.
Let's talk about some NFL. Let's talk about Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens going up against the San Francisco 49ers. These are two of the top teams in each of their conferences. They face each other Monday Night Football. Baltimore won the game 33-19. Lamar Jackson played well, 23-34, 250-something yards, 2 touchdowns. Right now, he's the leading favorite for the MVP. As for Brock Purdy, didn't play well at all, threw 4 picks in that game. Champ, what are your thoughts about the game? What are your thoughts about Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy?
Well, I will say this: Lamar Jackson is submitting his campaign for the MVP, especially if he could beat the Miami Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I stated before, let me phrase this in a polite way. If a stat watcher comes back and looks at his stats for this year, if he ends up winning the MVP, they will arguably say that this will probably be the worst MVP year for a quarterback to win, but he's going to win based on the eye test if they win it. Because right now he's like the ultimate weapon on that offensive side of the ball when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens. He doesn't have like super number one receivers. He doesn't have a Deebo Samuels or a Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, any of those guys. He has some serviceable guys, but not world beaters. And if you really want to be honest, his number one receiver is Mark Andrews. He's out. So I definitely think that he deserves to win the MVP if he ends up winning it, especially if they win out and get the number 1 seed. So that's my opinion on Lamar. Here's my thing about Brock Purdy. And I know me and you were speaking before we went onto the air.
Yes, we have. And we got a lot of flack on TikTok.
Yeah. What I don't understand is why are we so quick to crown quarterbacks? Have we not learned our lesson? I mean, especially
I don't think we have.
I mean, I think that Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. He's good. I mean, and at times he shows his greatness. But we have got to stop trying to crown these quarterbacks top 5, top 10, and they don't even have 2 to 3 years in. They don't even have 3 great years. And people are going to say, oh, well, he's in the MVP race. Yeah, Brian Sipe was too. and he was out of the NFL 3 years after that, and he was in the USFL and playing for the New Jersey Generals, Donald Trump's team. So what are we talking about here? We've seen this happen before. So my thing is, yes, he's in the MVP race this year. Yes, he's in the MVP race this year. Yes, he's doing great this year. Yes, it's one game. But let's stop crowning these quarterbacks before we really see what they can do. I mean, you really want to be honest with you. When we crowned Patrick Mahomes, it's because he won an MVP the first year. When we crowned Justin, and when we crowned what's his name? When we crowned Joe Burrow, it was because he went to the Super Bowl right after his ACL injury and then went to an AFC championship. When we crowned Josh Allen, he went to an AFC championship. And the thing was with Josh Allen, he went to the playoffs without Stephon Diggs.
Sure
He
did.
was the whole offense.
Second year.
Yes, he was the whole offense.
I think was
I
that
mean-
the year that Vontae Davis quit at halftime, and then they went on like a 12-game winning streak or something. They finished the season
No,
like what?
Vontae retired. That was in 2018. That was Josh
That was
Allen's rookie year.
2018. Yeah, that was his rookie year. But in his sophomore year, he didn't have Stephon Diggs. He almost single-handedly led that team to the playoffs.
Right.
And the casual fan can't name me not one wide receiver or one running back that was on that team. It was basically Josh Allen running for his life and throwing for his life.
I think it's
So-
the reason, Champ, is because of where Brock Purdy was. He was Mr. Irrelevant, undrafted. They just, and also too, Champ, I told you, 49ers fans are as crazy as Cowboy fans.
But think about this. I understand that, but there's a story that's similar to his. Did we crown Kurt Warner the year when he came into his own?
No, we didn't.
I don't think so. No, not that.
We didn't crown Kurt Warner the year that he had his coming out party in 1999. We understood that he's an undrafted.
Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, he was Super Bowl MVP of the league. Now consider that, and he was undrafted, and we didn't crown him. And people wasn't anxious even after that Super Bowl.
It was a different time back then, champ. You know that.
Yeah,
But at the same time, he had the greatest show on turf with
Yeah.
Marshall Falk,
Marshall
Torrey
Falk,
Holt, Isaac
Bruce.
Bruce. And that's what I've been trying to tell folks, Champ. Brock Purdy, no one is saying that he can't play. Let's just get that straight for the record. No one is saying he doesn't belong in the NFL. No one's saying that he can't play at all. But if you put him in different circumstances, how would he be? It does benefit for him when he has Kyle Shanahan calling the offensive plays, and when you're surrounded with a load of talent in Debo and in George Kittle and in Brandon Ayuk. So you got to ask yourself with Brock Purdy, if you put any other quarterback under those circumstances, you mean to tell me they'd be worse off?
And
We've
what's so
seen
fun-
Jimmy G.
Oh, my bad.
Go ahead.
And what's so funny about that? People were saying the same thing about Jalen Hurts last year. Yo, look on the Carson show. The Carson, I think his name was Jim Carson or something like that on FS1. Hey, I bet he couldn't play on a bad team. They were saying the same thing about him last year. They were saying the same thing about Jalen Hurts last year when he had his MVP race. So why are we sitting here acting like that just didn't happen? Is it because he's part of a flagship franchise in the 49ers that don't seem to miss when it comes to quarterbacks?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I wouldn't
gotta
say
ask
don't
yourself.
seem to, I wouldn't say don't seem to miss, man. I mean,
yeah, they haven't missed. I mean, I remember at one point they had two Hall of Famers and
mean,
a Pro Bowl
they
in the back.
Well, I'm gonna say this: they missed the Trey Lance.
they haven't missed in the previous century, but since this millennium has started, champ, you was around for the Tim Rattay years. You was around when Alex Smith, when Alex Smith went over Aaron Rodgers, bro, in that draft, and they probably only had maybe that one playoff run to show for it, man. When he had that game again.
Oh yeah, Lee, you forgot about one. You forgot one that's on that list. Giovanni Carmazzi.
Oh yeah. How could I forget about him?
Yeah,
How
but
could I forget it? I think he might have beat Tim Rattay out
But the thing about it, the year they drafted Giovanni Camazzi, guess who else came into the fold, became a Pro Bowler? Jeff Garcia.
Jeff Garcia, sure did.
So, I mean, like I said, man, people was asking themselves the same questions about Jalen Hurts last year. I bet he couldn't play on a bad team. I bet he can't do this. But now all of a sudden we're trying to make exceptions because it's Brock Purdy. And a lot of that stems from, hey, what if he would have played during the NFC Championship game? Hey, the Eagles was the most dangerous team last year that we saw last year. They were a very, very dangerous team. And so, hey,
and now they've been reduced to the 2020 Pittsburgh Steelers.
We'll get into that later.
That's a different story for another day, Lee.
But the thing is, we were saying the same thing last year, and now all of a sudden, hey, we want to start giving Brock Purdy all the grace in the world when we didn't give that to Jalen Hurts when he became a full-time starter. People said that I bet he couldn't do it on a less talented team. So let's keep that same energy for guys who come up to the MVP voting and they haven't had but 1 or 2 elite years. And if you really want to be honest, hey, him and Jimmy G had similar stats. The only difference is Brock Purdy is playing one more game than Jimmy G is. They if you look at their stats, neck and neck, Jimmy G's Super Bowl year and Brock Purdy's year right now, which is an MVP cap.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it. I'm reading it right now. I'm gonna read it right now, champ. Brock Purdy this season, 4,050 yards, 29 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Jimmy G, the year that he took the 49ers to the Super Bowl, nearly 4,000 yards, 3,978, 27 touchdowns to 13 interceptions.
There you go. It's not that big of a difference. It's not that big of a stretch. The only difference is people were smart enough to realize that, hey, he's not a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro. Why are we doing that with Brock Purdy? But I digress.
Leaf, I'm going to let you go. What's your thoughts about the Ravens 49ers? Do you think Lamar's won the MVP? And your thoughts on Brock Purdy?
The Ravens proved to me what I already knew, that they are going to be something, that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the AFC, especially this year with the digression of the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know what's going on with them. They just can't seem to hold on to the ball when all these passes. But the Ravens have proven that they could be the class of the AFC, at least for this year. As far as Brock Purdy goes, man, listen, I've seen him. I've seen this in the Minnesota game. It's times where he's looking to throw outside. If he can't throw outside, if you force a lot of his throws on the inside, he struggles. And he tends to struggle a lot, man. And once you take away those areas and start to make him win the game and him alone, he struggles in that aspect. So, I mean, obviously, we all know what we know about Brock Purdy. Race. I'm glad you brought that up, champ. The Miami game. This game is going to prove once and for all who's the MVP, because on one side you have Lamar Jackson, and on the other side you have who I think was the MVP all along, and that's Tyreek Hill. And if one or two of these players go off in this game, if it seems like Tyreek Hill has to go off in this game, and Lamar Jackson has to be nerfed in this game in order for people to realize that Tyreek Hill is the MVP, and he has been so for many, many weeks now. We have been playing this game of musical chairs with quarterbacks for most of this year with who's going to win MVP. A couple of weeks ago it was Dak. A couple of weeks ago before that it was somebody else, and then it was somebody else before that. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, when is this thing going to end? I thought Lamar Jackson was out of the MVP race the night that he lost to Deshaun Watson. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man, what's going on with this race. I think the NFL has a chance to do right, and the voters have a chance to do right. Don't be fake. Don't be biased. Don't try to make it a positional award. Tyreek Hill is the goddamn MVP of this league. I'm not gonna say it no more.
Unfortunately, Leaf, I don't think they're gonna give it to him, because in order for him to do that, he has to get the 2K. If you're not gonna give it to Tyreek Hill, you're probably gonna have to give it to what Champ has endorsed from all along, Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey. And I think that, and that's another candidate. I think Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill have been like pushed aside for week to week quarterbacks in this race. His name hasn't come up that much. Tyreek Hill's name has come up a lot because of the Triple Crown suggestion that he may get, or the 2000 that he may get. But CMC has been consistent week in and week out. One of the two of those players don't get this award. This is that the NFL needs to cut out this BS puzzle, this BS pattern that they run where they got to give quarterback the award. Man, I just think it's unfair.
All right. Trey.
When it comes to the 49ers and the Ravens, I would say Kyle Shanahan, this is all your fault because you bit the bait. All you had to do was limited showcase Christian McCaffrey. But no, what did you decide to do? You wanted to showcase Brock Purdy against Lamar Jackson because that was the headlines. Lamar Jackson versus Brock Purdy. Who's going to show up? And you tried to showcase Brock Purdy and it backfired on you. Mike McDonald outcoached you and outsmarted you. When it comes to this MVP race, and I'm gonna say this, and I said this like yesterday. Somebody asked me, "Oh well, what do you think about the MVP race?" Lamar Jackson this year has shown you it's like, okay, y'all said this team was better than us. Y'all said that no, who was that? Y'all said Detroit was better than us. Smoked them. Then you turned around. You said Seattle was better than us. Smoked them. You said the Chargers was better than us. Smoked them. Then you said, okay, well, let's see what you do against the 49ers. Smoked them. And this Sunday, if he beats the Miami Dolphins, the MVP conversation is over.
All right.
It's done.
All right. All right. Rod. Can you hear us, bro?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just
What's
want to.
going on? What's going on? How y'all
I
doing?
just want to. I just want to say something real quick. I came to my senses almost 5 seconds after you guys started talking football. I know nothing about football. But I know
It's
somebody that
okay.
does.
It's okay.
I know somebody that does. This is my guy Rod, co-host of what will be Vanity Sports, starting Sunday. So I'm gonna pass it to my boy and let him cook.
Appreciate it, brother.
I
What's your
mean,
Love, love.
I
not.
appreciate it, Rod. What's your thoughts about the Ravens 49ers game? Lamar and Purdy MVP.
Um. So the 49ers just lost a game. It doesn't make sense. They were literally the better team. Their defense is so much better. They played my Cowboys and destroyed us, and they should have won that game. Stop leaving it in the hands of Brock Purdy. He's not. He's a game manager.
Thank
He
you.
manages the game. That is all his job is to get Debo Samuel the ball and let MC Christian McCaffrey do his thing, and that's it. Like there's nothing else to do with that team. Like you're not here to win the game. You're just here to manage the game and get the ball into the hands of the players that can win the game for you. All you have to do is check down to Debo Samuel, and nope, you have to have half the team tackle him.
Mm-hmm.
That's so simple.
All
I'm not
right.
trying to throw dots and nah, you're not that quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as the MVP race, man, I do hate that it's always a quarterback when
Mm-hmm.
there are so many other players that deserve the opportunity or the title. that's played just as well, if not better. Tyreek Hill has had a phenomenal season. Um, and Tua has been giving him and letting him do what he does best, get out in
Mm-hmm.
space. So I don't see why Tyreek Hill wouldn't get it. I don't think Christian McCaffrey can get it. Um, I did see a couple games where I didn't feel like he was the best that we have ever seen him, but he has had games where he has flashed and he's been who we thought he was, a really talented running back. But as you know, running backs have a shelf life.
Right.
Receivers do not.
Right. Trey, can you lower the noise a little bit down a little bit, man?
My man just zipped up a whole bag. He got a body back there.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
It's all good. But Rod, you make some great points. As far as with the game, I got to give a lot of credit to Baltimore's defense. They have been consistent throughout the season. They have the number one defense in the NFL, team defense and scoring defense. As you said, Rod, I've been trying to tell 49ers fans, champ, I've said it before, man, Brock Purdy, this is not a knock. It's not an insult, but it's a fact. He is a game manager. I remember, champ, I did a blog on this a couple of days ago. I said if you put Brock Purdy in much different circumstances, imagine how he would be. And look, that's not to say that he can't play in the NFL, folks. I want to make it abundantly clear. No one is saying Brock Purdy is a bum or a scrub. But if you put him in different circumstances compared to where he is right now in San Francisco, how good would he be? I mean, you have Christian McCaffrey, who is the best running back in the NFL. You have one of the elite tight ends in George Kittle. You have Deebo Samuel, who's great after the catch. Brandon Ayuk is really good as a route runner. My guy, who used to play for my Washington Commanders, Trent Williams, one of the best left tackles in that game. And they still have defense. They went from Robert Saleh. They went from D'Amico Ryans, who's done a very good job, and Champ will attest to that with the Houston Texans. Now they got Steve Wilks, who I tried to tell Harrison, hey, you better should have had Steve Wilks instead of Frank Wright, but that's a story for another day. San Francisco has been consistent with the talent they have on offense, defense, and Kyle Shanahan is as good as it gets as an offensive play caller. Although I would prefer Sean McVay, but that's here, no there. But Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. He's mid. That's about it. It's because of what he has around him. And just because we say someone is a game manager, and speaking of game manager, we didn't mention his name. Cam Newton. Now, he's owed an apology because he took a lot of flack and a lot of criticism. Remember when he went on his 4th and 1 podcast and he used the term game manager to describe quarterbacks like Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff? I don't agree with what he said about Dak at this point as a game manager. And most noticeably, Kimberly Martin of ESPN, she went on Get Up criticizing him and bringing up Cam's fashion and attire. And I think, champ, with too many times, we have a problem with the messenger, not the message. We have a problem with Cam Newton in terms of his outfits and personality than what he said. People have forgotten Cam Newton is a former league MVP. He was a former number 1 overall pick. He was a game changer. He was a difference maker, which is why Ryan Clark went on the Pivot podcast and came to his defense and talked about the message instead of the messenger. And I feel like this validates what Cam Newton was alluding to all along. No one is saying that Brock Purdy can't play. He's at best a game manager. I have defended a lot of other quarterbacks, like my boy Baker Mayfield, and he's having a really good season. He should be in the conversation for the Pro Bowl. He's a game manager. I hate to say it because he's an OU dude, but I'm going to call it for what it is. Baker Mayfield as the number 1 overall pick was a mistake. If you redo that draft, you would have gone Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson number 1 overall. I would go with Josh Allen because of prototype. 6'5", 240, 250, cannon of an arm, athletic ability. But you can't go wrong with Lamar Jackson, especially what he's on pace to do. He's about to win his second MVP in his career. And plus, you're going to have a discussion about him being in the Hall of Fame someday. But when you look at what Cam said was true. And people just don't want to take that into consideration. I believe Cam Newton should be owed an apology. Will he get an apology? I don't think so, because I think it would be beneath the media to do that. And I don't want to go on this, but I do think it's kind of hypocritical. Let's say if Cam Newton had said exactly what Kimberly Martin said, and a female had said exactly what Cam said, as far as Brock Purdy, a game manager, Jim, can you imagine the type of criticism Cam Newton would have received? The backlash he would have received? And I think that's a double standard. And that's something that I didn't even think of until right after I did the video. So all I'm just saying is, yo, man, Cam Newton should be owed an apology as well. That's what I thought. But you want to add on to that?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm gonna say this. Do you think, and I'll address this to the entire panel, do you think that the media was like this? Hey, this is a year where we all know, every last one of us know, that this quarterback year is a down year. We can't have a former league MVP down in these quarterbacks that we have, because we have viewers. And if everybody starts looking at the stats, then everybody's going to start realizing that this year is kind of mid when it comes to quarterbacks. I mean, even Chris Broussard earlier today on what's the show?
First Things First.
First Things First. He was saying, man, this is a weird year. And in other words, this is a mid year. They can't say that because it'll destroy the product.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is, hey, man, I'm going to tell you this. As far as commentators are concerned, we've had some of the most mid NFL analysts that were quarterbacks criticizing other quarterbacks. We had Tim Hasselbeck criticizing quarterbacks.
Mid.
He wasn't even
Super
bottom
mid.
tier.
Right.
We had Boomer Esiason criticizing quarterback. He was a league MVP. But we all know he was kind of mid. We've had a lot of guys criticize quarterbacks who didn't have the career that Cam Newton had.
But you know why that is?
Why is that?
Because he's a running quarterback.
It doesn't
That's
matter.
not a proto. I get that it shouldn't matter, but the fact that the quarterback position is meant to be played from the pocket, I'm air quoting right now.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to be a tremendous passer. Now, Cam Newton was a very good passer. I don't think he was tremendous, but a lot of stuff was saved because he had somebody like Steve Smith.
He only had Steve Smith for 3 years.
He did only have him for 3 years.
After they made that playoffs that year, after they made that playoff, that 12-4 season, his third year, they shipped him out of town. So the majority, he only had a number one receiver for 3 years in his career. The rest, he had a tight end. It's like, and the thing is, oh yeah, he's a running quarterback. And I'm gonna ask people this: did Cam Newton ever get in trouble?
You know,
Other than the laptop situation at Florida,
I'm talking about in the pro.
No, in the
That
pro,
was
no.
And did he ever get it? Did he ever get his coach fired?
nope.
Did he blast his coach in the media?
No.
I think the worst thing that he ever did was not jump on that fumble in the Super Bowl. That was the worst thing that ever happened in his career. And he didn't want to talk to the media after that. I think those was the two worst things.
That was bad, but that's not the worst thing he ever did. The worst thing he ever did is when the allegations came out about the owner, and instead of saying, "Hey, that was bad, that was terrible," he stuck up for the owner. He was like, me and him had a perfect relationship, and everybody was looking at him.
Yeah, but didn't Dak Prescott say the same thing when they had controversy about the kneeling incident?
Right.
And not to mention when that photo.
And not only that, you forgot about the incident with the female reporter.
Yes, and when that photo posted, and then when that photo came out about Jerry Jones.
Yes.
Okay, so guess what? He did. Like I said, Cam Newton wasn't a troublemaker in this league, and everybody wants to criticize his fashion. Who cares? Oh, the fashion. Okay, well, is that hurting you? Is that hurting somebody? Just because I got loud colors on? And that's a dumb way of looking at it. I'm going to look at what you have on versus what you're saying. It's just
But
like me when
it's not the
it's just
now.
like
To me, it's not the it's not the color. Like when I look at it, I don't look at the colors. I look at the outfit and be like, dude, what the hell do you got on?
and again, I understand that. But what does that have to do with the sport?
That's irrelevant because Cam, all he was doing was just giving his football assessment, which he
Yeah.
is entitled to do. But
Yeah.
for
Yep.
some reason, you just don't like him because of him. Is it because he's been on the record saying there ain't 32 quarterbacks better than me? Is it because, like, what is it about Cam that you don't like? And I've used the comparison. A lot of people, it seems like they're treating him kind of like Dwight Howard to some extent, champ. That's like how I feel. Like Cam, like people have forgotten just how good Cam was. And they bring up Cam's MVP year in 2015. What about the year when he won Offensive Rookie and Rookie of the Year? Cam became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for over 4,000 yards. Cam also had 21 touchdowns on the air. He also had 14 touchdowns on the ground. At that point, that was the most touchdowns by a quarterback rushing until Jalen Hurts, of course, surpassed it. Like Cam, people have forgotten how good Cam is. So I think you just have to do a better job if you're the media. If you have a problem with what Cam had to say in terms of calling people game managers, okay, that's fine. Make your argument, but you don't have to take personal shots. Just like I said, have a problem with the message, not the messenger.
Yeah, he made the
That's all.
playoffs 4 times. And he made the
Really,
playoffs
I
4
don't
times.
think I
In
don't
a
really
loaded
think
division.
that she wanted to. And I said this. I said, bro, the NFL controls the media, so they probably got a phone call when that video came out. He said that, and they got a phone call telling the people that work for ESPN, y'all got to shoot that down because we can't have him talking like that about our quarterback, about the quarterbacks that we're marketing. We can't have him speaking like that.
Right.
All
And
right,
it was like, okay, we know.
all
But
right.
yeah.
So, go ahead, Brandon. What's your thoughts about the Ravens 49ers game? Do you think Lamar's the MVP? And what's your thoughts on Brock Purdy?
Oh yeah. Lamar Jackson definitely the MVP right now. But I mean, the Ravens defense is just like that. You know what they remind me of though? The 2000 Ravens defense. That's what they remind me of.
Ooh, no. I
They
knew you were
give
gonna say
Really?
that.
Really,
I knew you were
Brandon?
gonna say
they
that,
giving me
but
that vibe
no,
back,
son.
bruh. They giving me that
No,
vibe
son.
back. Or
No.
it could be
I'm a
it.
fan. I'm a
Listen,
fan, and I say
listen, listen,
no.
listen, Trey. Cal Hamilton's the Ed Reed. Roquan Smith to Ray Lewis. I mean, I'm just.
I just made what's so funny about that, the reason why I'm smiling, I just made a video about that on TikTok
But
comparing.
like, I can see it, bro. Like,
I mean, Jadeveon Clowney, he's their Peter Bullware. Patrick
Mhm.
McLean, he's their Jamie Sharpter. I mean,
yeah, it's giving me that vibe back. I don't know why.
yeah.
Rod, you want to move on before we move on to the next football subject? Is there anything you want to add?
No, man, I'm enjoying this conversation, man. This is great. I love hearing everybody's opinions and thoughts on the MVPs, which could go either way at this point. I
Yeah,
think
but
Lamar has had a fantastic season,
but
and
uh, yeah, like what he did. I will give you a defense that nobody ever talks about when it comes to the Ravens. Everybody talks about the 2000 defense. What about the defense in 06?
Yeah, all 4 of their linebackers made all pro.
Yeah.
All 4 of them.
Want Terrell Suggs on the team? Or
Yeah,
what?
Terrell Suggs was on that team.
Mhm.
I mean, the Baltimore Ravens for a 10-year stretch, they had 3 defensive players of the year. I mean, with
And
Ray Lewis
Champ,
doing it twice.
and
Mhm.
Champ, thank the good Lord they had the great Ozzie Newsome as
Yeah.
far Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no
Cal
doubt.
I
Hamilton's a
just wish.
dog, bro.
I just wish. The only thing I wish was what we had a quarterback during them years. Oh my god.
Mhm.
Well, you finally have a quarterback now, so at least you're fortunate to have one. Anyway, let's talk about another quarterback in the news, Russell Wilson.
Uh-oh.
He's benched for the last 2 games of the season. Jared Stidham, the backup, will now be starting. It's been reported by by The Athletics' Diana Rossini that the Broncos are expected to cut Russell Wilson. Just reading this report from right here. It says in 2024, Russell Wilson is owed $39 million guaranteed. 9-time Pro Bowler remains on the Broncos roster. If he remains on the Broncos roster come March 17th, 2024, he'll be owed an additional $37 million guaranteed. The Broncos would owe the injury guarantees if he didn't pass his physical. If he or does he have to pass his physical, champ? I just want to be clear and sure on that. Does he have to pass his physical in order to do that?
I think he has to pass the physical.
Yeah, pass the physical. I apologize for that. So he has to pass the physical in order for him to get that additional $37 million. He spoke with the media and he confirmed that during the bye week that they wanted him to reconstruct the contract, and if he didn't do that, they would have to bench him. Look, and if you look at Russell Wilson this season, it's
big
not
guy.
a great and extraordinary season, but it's a solid season. 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's having a better season than Patrick Mahomes and all the other top-notch quarterbacks that you can possibly think of. So, Brandon, I'm going to let you go first because you are a Seattle Seahawk and you love yourself some Russell Wilson. What's your thoughts about the whole Russ news? Brandon?
Mm.
All right, we'll wait on Brandon. Rod, you want to go?
I really didn't put a whole bunch of stock into that. I get what they're trying to do is trying to get him back on the field, but when they sat him down, I really felt like they were saving him for next year. I'm sure he's going to come back healthy. He's going to be fine. Having a year under his belt with Sean Payton at the helm could be more beneficial than we actually think. I don't think they were trying to lose every game like Carolina, getting the number 1 pick, but I do feel that they need a lot of help in a lot of different areas, especially on that defensive side of the ball. I think they do have some talented receivers, and they need to build their line a little bit more, probably get some veteran leadership over there, because I don't feel like everybody's listening to Russell Wilson because he started off the season not playing extremely well, and it didn't look like a Russell Wilson that we've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm. Trey?
Well, if they cut him, I always felt like, well, kind of remind me at the start of the season when they got rid of remember when they paid Randy Gregory, and they paid him all that money the year before, right? And then they got rid of him like this year, they got rid of him. I was like, yep, they trying to get some of that money back on the cap because they looking at the cap hit and saying like, man, we got to pay some of these players all this money and we ain't going to have no money to spend in the off season. So they probably looked at Russ's contract and was like, I wonder if we cut him, will we owe him any more money? And they basically like, no. And it was like, well, if we decide to sit him down, will we owe him? How much money will we owe him? It's like, okay, we'll probably have to pay him $39 million, but if he don't pass his physical, or if we would have to pay him $37 million. Okay, let's decide to just sit him down.
Mm.
Brandon, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
What's your thoughts about the whole Russell Wilson news?
Uh, I've been hearing reports about the threatening. They were threatening Russ to
Reconstruct his contract.
yeah, that's kind of crazy. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't even think Russ was playing that bad to keep it up with you, but I get it. The contract. Um, they shouldn't have signed him that big to begin with. You get what I'm saying? Now they talking about he might be traded. Well, cut really.
Yeah, cut. It's
Which
been reported. Cut.
yeah. So I don't know. Broncos need to get a quarterback in the draft. You know, where Russ going to go? I don't know. Maybe Atlanta.
All right. I'm gonna let Champ go because he made an argument about this on his TikTok, and I want him to go further on this. So, Big Champ, the floor is yours.
All right. Number one, I'm gonna just be real with you. With every last one of you on the panel, have you ever seen a team do this in the middle of a playoff run?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Nope.
Because the thing is, that's an exercise of futility right there. Especially think about this now.
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. I think the Raiders did that last year, if I'm not mistaken, with Derek Carr.
But
Yeah,
weren't
but
they
they
out of
were
playoff contention?
they were out of playoff contention. But the thing is this, and the thing is this, you got to think about this. If they win these last two games as bad as the Kansas City Chiefs have been, they have a chance to clinch the division. I mean, are you that anxious to move off of a contract in order to put yourself in a situation where you don't even make the playoffs this year? That's coming from a football standpoint. From a business standpoint, I understand and I get it because you're trying to free up some of this money because
Yeah.
under new ownership, this is how it works under new ownership. New coach gets brought in by new ownership. The quarterback gets 1 year, then he gets replaced. We've seen this before. We've seen it all before. But to put yourself in a position where you're out of playoff contention by putting in Jared Stidham is plain out crazy. Not to mention, you have to say this. People can say what they want to about Russell Wilson. He has conducted himself with pure class this year. Because when your coach is coming out and just saying, I've never seen a coach just keep calling his quarterback out in the media like that. Last coach I ever seen do that was Jim Moore his first year with Peyton Manning. His first 2 years with Peyton Manning. We know the whole
Well, there was a coach with the Giants by the name of Ben McAdoo, and he got fired.
Yeah. We haven't seen nobody just come out and just keep blasting him. I mean, from yelling at him on the sideline and just ripping into him and doing all of this nonsense. Sean Payton has clearly just berated with Russell Wilson. And to Russell Wilson's credit, people won't say this, but Russell Wilson has been a good citizen and hasn't said a word. But if you don't want this person as your guy, just say that. But you don't have to go through the process of humiliating somebody in the media of, going on all these talk shows, berating your quarterback in the media, because guess what? You had 3 straight losing seasons in New Orleans. Not one time did you berate Drew Brees. 3 straight seasons of 7-9.
Because he knew that. Yeah, because he knew that in New Orleans the defense was horrendous.
The defense was horrendous earlier this year when they gave up that 70 point. They didn't get the defense squared away until the second half of the season.
Right.
And my thing is, you had 3 straight losing seasons with Drew Brees. 3 straight. I'm a Falcons fan. I saw it. Every time we beat him, I was happy.
2014, 2015, 2016.
Yeah. And then, like I said, 3 straight losing seasons. Not one time did you see that he come over and berate Drew Brees like that in the media.
Yeah, and not only that, what was Drew Brees' numbers that year? If you look at Drew Brees' numbers, you be like, how did they go 7-9?
A lot of plays during garbage time, I'll say that. And you're trying to come back at the end of the game because your defense giving up too many points. But guess what? The same thing happened this year
Right.
in Denver. As far as that, and I don't understand that either. If you are not sold on Russ, just say that. But you don't have to come out in the media as a coach and blast him every single chance that you get. Because now the media is former players. It's not just the media that's been covering journalism for the past 25 years. It's former players now. And they're saying the same thing. You don't have to come out every 5 seconds and blast Russell Wilson in the media like that. What's wrong with you? Would you
I
blast
think
him?
Champ, I think they're going way too far. I think Sean Payton is going entirely too far. And what we've seen from Sean Payton this year, you remember, this is the same Sean Payton that criticized Nathaniel Hackett, right?
Yeah.
Remember he said it's the worst coaching
Yep.
performance I ever saw last season?
Yeah.
Well, Sean Payton, you up there, buddy. Because early on that season, I mean, look at the Commanders game. You look at the Miami game. Bro, this is on you.
Yep.
And also, the trade from New Orleans to Denver in order to acquire you, if I'm not mistaken, Champ.
Yeah.
So when you look at Sean Payton this season, do I think he doesn't have to bash his quarterback, and he's doing it publicly,
Every chance he gets.
in which it's very obvious any opportunity he gets. And I'm like, why? Look, Russ, early on in the season, early on last year, Russ did kind of ruffle some feathers because it was reported he did want his own office. He wanted to do things his way. But so far, in fairness to Russell Wilson, we haven't heard anything. But Sean Payton, it seemed like he never wanted Russ to begin with in the first place. I told you before, he really wanted to go to the Chargers. He really wanted to be with Justin Herbert, and he wanted to be in LA because, again, while he was retired, he was with the Herd with Colin Cowherd. Fox Sports, they're located in LA. But the Spanos family, we all know for a fact, Champ, anyone who knows the Spanos family, they cheap. And outside of Ryan Leaf, they have a luxury of quarterbacks. You already mentioned it. Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, now with Justin Herbert. But the Spanos family is a cheap organization. It was reported that they were paying Brandon Staley $4 million. To get a guy like a Sean Payton, you have to pay 4 or 5 times more. Sean Payton is not going to take a little less money. But back to Sean Payton in Denver.
And on top of that, he's gonna want control.
Well, we already know that, Trey. But the thing is, Champ, he's getting out of control, man. As a head coach, you're the head coach. You're the leader of this team. Just like the quarterback, aren't you supposed to say and do all the right things? You're supposed to be buttoned up. And he has embarrassed himself with how the way that he's been doing this season. He's using Russell Wilson as the scapegoat. And that's unfair because there are a lot more problems with this team. There's problems with their defense, and there's problems with coaching. And Sean Payton has to accept that. So if you want to move on from Russell Wilson, that's fine. If you feel like he wasn't your cup of tea, that's fine. But don't publicly humiliate him to the point that his career is potentially in danger. Now it's being reported by Diana Rossini of The Athletic, they can cut him. So if you cut him, where does he go? You mentioned the Falcons. You talked about how the Falcons, how they already went through cap hell with Matt Ryan, bringing him there to the Atlanta Falcons. That would be ideal. And he would be the best quarterback on paper. Although you would probably argue Baker Mayfield at this point. But how good is it going to be in order for the Falcons to get over the hump? I know you just fed up with Desmond Ridder at this point. You just can't stand from what you've seen from Desmond Ridder, and you're not sure on Taylor Heineke. Where would you like to see him besides Atlanta?
Either Atlanta, and I know people are going to have the little nuances. They're going to say, don't do that. You want to worry about songs or you want to win football games. That's just my thing. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, read between the lines. Read between the lines. We'll leave it at that. Another team I would love to see him at, Pittsburgh.
Yep. I was about to say that.
Pittsburgh. Another team outside of that,
I'm gonna just say this for all you Pittsburgh fans, 'cause I've been hearing a lot of Pittsburgh fans say, "Oh, go get Russ, go get Russ." The Rooney family is cheap as hell. That ain't happening. I've been watching it for years. They are cheap as hell when it comes to players. So I'm like,
Did they
nah,
pay
they
TJ?
ain't doing.
yeah, they played TJ. But I
They
mean, if you really
paid.
think about it,
They had to pay TJ. They were forced to pay him.
but if you really think
Like,
about it, they have a right to be cheap because guess what? They could. Hey, the minute a great player comes out of Pittsburgh, another one replaces him. But I digress.
I
Another
would like to
great.
see him in Cleveland, but that's just me. You
No,
don't see that.
no, I don't see that. I think they
no,
might.
they already paid. They already paid Deshaun Watson.
Man, please, Deshaun Watson hasn't even been available, and plus, Champ, you even said it yourself. Baker Mayfield, the Browns, they said they want an adult in the locker room.
Well, yeah, but that's another story for another day. One more team that I could really see doing it, and I would look into it in Vegas. Hey, yeah, I mean, and then not to bring anything personal for what I'm saying. Your wife is a superstar. Go to Vegas and play with Devontae Adams, those receivers. Hopefully, Josh Jacobs can come back in a healthy manner.
And Russ likes that as well too.
Yeah, and hey, that defense is a stifling defense. That offensive line is good. I mean, you still walking up out of Mile High.
One condition, Champ. If he goes there, they have to keep Antonio Pierce because Mark Davis cannot make the same mistake. You went from the interim head coach, and remember the interim head coach a couple years ago who did a good job in the aftermath of John Gruden as well as all the other mess. You let go of that interim coach, you let go of Antonio Pierce, you're going to make the same mistake unless you find someone that's better.
I think that's why I said I don't think he's not gonna make that same mistake twice. I don't think he's gonna hire Antonio Pierce as the coach, but I think he's gonna bring somebody in that's on the staff already, not bring in an outsider like Josh McDaniel.
To be honest with you, hey, you'll be crazy not to hire Antonio Pierce at this point, especially how he's galvanized this team. People keep saying as far as Russell Wilson, Washington, New England, and a couple more other teams, but I'm just gonna be real.
I'm gonna just say this:
do not put yourself in a position. And I hate to use Cam Newton as an example. Don't put yourself in a position like Cam Newton just to be on a team where you're putting yourself in a losing situation. Go to a situation where you can win and you could possibly get you some wins. And even if you have to mentor a young quarterback, mentor that young quarterback while you're the starter and win you some games. That way, you're leaving Denver. You're leaving the Mile High City with $150 million anyway, regardless when they cut you.
And by the way, Champ, you talk about Russ in Washington. He would get that offensive line is just that dreadful.
Like I said, man, you're better off having me out there, and I'm on the 6 feet. So
I'm gonna just basically say this when it comes to these two teams: Washington, no; New England, hell no. That's a disaster.
New England's probably gonna draft a quarterback.
Yeah, and like I said, don't put yourself. And like I said, I hate to use Cam as an example, but he wanted to play on a team so bad that he was willing to go to a bad situation like New England in order to play. And I don't think Russ should do that at this point because the thing is, hey, you're trying to finish off your Hall of Fame career. Go to a team. Hey, take a little bit less money because you're already walking out the door with $150 million anyway. Take less money. Go to either the Falcons, go to the Raiders, or Pittsburgh, where you know you're gonna have some talent around you in order to try to see if you can turn this whole thing around and get them into the playoffs. Maybe get to them to a AFC or NFC championship and see what you can do while you're a young quarterback.
Okay, but what about the Rams?
They already have Matthew Stafford.
They already have Matthew Stafford.
I don't know if they're going to keep Matthew Stafford after this season.
Well, I think they're going to go younger after this season with, some of the quarterbacks that are coming out because not a lot of these quarterbacks are, as we already know, just because they say you're a first rounder in the middle of the college football season doesn't mean you're a first rounder when the draft comes. And we've seen way too many.
And that's why I said I felt like Denver is trying to get. That's another reason why I said Denver is trying to get from under Russ because they looked at this draft class with these quarterbacks and they like, okay, we see some good quarterbacks here. We could
All right.
possibly get one of them.
But how long? But you got to ask yourself, how long is it going to take you to win? And will time run out on you before you start back winning? You're in the middle of a playoff berth right about now.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of a playoff run right now. How long is it going to specifically take you to start to win you some games and get this close? And get this close when you draft a rookie quarterback?
Well,
Because
they're hoping to hit that lightning in a bottle like the Texans have.
I mean, you're the division with
Or
Patrick
they
Mahomes.
could.
You're in the division with Patrick Mahomes. If they rehire
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce, you got to worry about that team. They have a talented team, and not to mention,
And I said before, Josh McDaniels, he should have never been the head coach to begin with in the
Exactly.
first place.
And
Yeah.
then, and depending on who the Los Angeles Chargers hire as their coach, you're going to have to compete with them too. So that is a quarterback-rich division, and great coaches are in that division.
Yep.
So you
True.
got to ask yourself, how long are you going to last? You're trying to do all of these desperate measures. How long are you going to really last in this situation?
Brandon, where would you like to see Russell Wilson play?
Oh, Pittsburgh Steelers. Easily.
Okay.
Yeah, easily.
And Rod?
I mean,
Honestly, I would like to see him in Atlanta, having that talented tight end over there that we haven't been able to see much of because they've had bad quarterback play. But I like him in Atlanta, honestly.
Right. You and Champ can't go wrong. I mean, both of y'all can't stand Desmond Ritter. I know that for a fact. Let's talk about some NFL picks. We got a big one tomorrow night, Saturday, December 30th. And by the way, shout out to LeBron. Tomorrow will be his birthday. Happy birthday, LeBron.
yes, sir.
Detroit Lions at Dallas Cowboys. Rod, since you a Cowboy fan,
You already know, Cowboys not losing at home.
all right. You need a bounce back after those two tough losses against Buffalo and Miami.
Yeah,
Brandon.
especially that Buffalo one.
Yeah, I got Cowboys.
Trey
Cowboys.
Yep.
and Champ.
I want to say this, hot take. Watch out if Dak has a huge game, because I guarantee you that's going to put him right back in the MVP race in a minute.
Oh,
Watch out.
Oh.
No, watch it. Watch.
I mean,
If he has a
you
huge
ain't lying.
game, he's going to go back. They're going to start back talking about him in the MVP race. So I'm going to take Dallas.
All right.
I wouldn't rule
I'm
that
gonna
part.
remember that.
I wouldn't rule that out, Champ. But do you think though the losses though, you think that's going to hurt him on the road?
To be honest with you, they still have a chance to. I mean, depending on how the Eagles play the next couple of games, they still have a chance to wrap up the division.
No, they
So-
do. No, they still do. Even the Eagles' victory against the Giants, they were up 17 at one point.
Yeah,
They were
terrible.
bad.
Look, man,
They still
are
have a chance to
fraudulent.
wrap up this division at this point. So, like I said, especially if they're able to wrap up the division, and Dak is on pace to arguably throw for a bunch of touchdowns. He's already thrown over 30 touchdowns this year. He's thrown for over 30 touchdowns. In fact, second.
Yeah, go ahead.
In fact, he's at 30 touchdowns to 7 interceptions right now. He has the best touchdown to interception ratio of any quarterback.
That is
So
true.
can you imagine if he comes out tomorrow against the Detroit Lions, who's already clinched their division and
Mhm.
already made the playoffs, and let's say he throws 5 touchdowns, or even 3 or 4.
No question about it. But I do think it's going to be a lot closer because I think Detroit's going to also score some points. But I'm going to go Dallas 37-27. It's going to be a really exciting game. I think for Dallas, can their defense, can they stop the run?
Mhm.
And also, too, if you put pressure on Jared Goff and also find a way to stop Amon St. Brown, Deron Bland is going to have to show up in this one as well. And Micah Parsons, with all that talking, I think Micah Parsons is on pace to have a really good game as well. All right, next one. Obviously, no-brainer, 49ers, Commanders. 49ers are 13.5-point favorites, so all of us go 49ers.
Yeah, I got
Mhm.
Niners.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although I
The
love it
only
because tanking.
yeah.
That's just
The
me.
only question we should be asking is if the Commanders gonna get beat by 20 or they gonna get beat by 40.
Trey, I don't give a damn how much they losing. As long as they get a top pick, I'm fine with it. They
They need
got
it.
something to look forward to this season.
PSP, who do you want?
It's been reported that they're trying to get Caleb Williams, but I would much
Oh,
rather
that's right.
go
That's
with
right.
offensive linemen. We're probably
Okay.
not gonna get Williams or May. So if I'm Washington, I would get offensive linemen. I also need pass rushers. Champ and I, we discussed this. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to let go of some noticeable players so that we can still save up in cap space, even though we
Free
saved up.
Terry
Oh, yeah.
McLaurin.
Definitely gonna have to. But I
We
don't see
already gave him his contract, though, Brandon.
Yeah.
Washington going after Williams is just gonna be in the same position that they're in now.
That's
I
not gonna
watched.
happen.
Cause
I
I got
don't believe Williams is that person. I feel like there are other quarterbacks that are coming in this draft that are more talented than he is. I don't know if it's just this season or was that last season that he blew up, but I feel Penix is 10 times a better player than him. And he
Whoa.
commands a locker room. He leads from the front.
Wait a minute.
I mean,
Nah, I can't give you that,
I
Rod. Nah, bro.
I mean, Penix
Nah,
Jr. is a good
if you
quarterback,
say
but at the same
if you
time,
Okay, Rod.
Rod,
Why
if
you
you
say Michael Penix Jr. over Caleb Williams? What is it from a physical or from a leadership standpoint that stands out to you and that makes you say, "Hey, he's way better than Caleb Williams"?
Because he's had his times where he's had these ridiculous games, even when he had played against Oregon. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe they lost that game. He came back and led his team to another win and then another. He's leading. He's not just managing what they have. He's leading, making these receivers look better than they probably are.
Mhm.
Um,
to
he's not sitting on that sideline moping. He's motivating his teammates to keep playing harder. When you look at Caleb Williams, it's like he looked defeated some days, and I'm like, man, what's going on with you?
yeah, well, you're gonna look defeated when your defense constantly gives up points on almost
But
every drive.
if you're not, they giving up. I got to score. We're not scoring.
I think to Rod's point, you got to think about this. We saw that high-powered offense in USC, but we just saw in a bowl game the backup quarterback throw 6 touchdowns. We just saw that in Lincoln Riley's system. And you have to ask yourself another thing, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. When was the last time a USC quarterback came into the league and was just phenomenal?
Carson Palmer. Outside of Carson Palmer, there's not really that much.
They've had a lot of them. They've
I'm
had
just saying, bro.
Rodney
We talking about a generational talent here, bro.
I understand that, but like I said, will he succumb to the USC curse? Because we seen a lot of guys come out of USC in the first round outside of Carson Palmer, and they said this was going to be the next guy. And then they come to find out, it was just like, we saw with Matt Leinart.
I didn't believe in Sam Darnold. Matt Barkley was just dealt a bad hand. It was like, I don't even think he got an opportunity to start.
But champ, it's one of those situations we'll never know. I think with Caleb, he'll be fine. I've said before, when he went to USC, he wasn't going to win no national championship. Champ, I would know that for a fact. Where was Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley?
OU. Bring out the helmet.
Yeah, bring up the helmet. Lincoln Riley, damn sure for a fact, don't know defense. Never cared about defense, never paid much about defense. He just wanted to leave Oklahoma because he didn't want to deal with that SEC smoke. He did
Boy,
not want to
fuck
deal
you,
with Georgia.
Lord.
He did not want to deal with Alabama. He did not want to deal with Tennessee.
Roll
Everybody
Tide,
He did
roll,
not want to
baby.
deal with Florida. He did not
Welcome
want to
Yeah,
to the
deal with
Alabama
any
Invitational,
of
baby.
that competition. And plus, champ, it's
dog.
only going to be even worse for him because we all know USC's heading to the Big Ten.
That's
He has
what
to
I was
deal with
about to
Even
say. You went from one bad situation to another. It's like, well, I
even
don't want to go to the SEC in Oklahoma, but now I'm finna go to another powerhouse where literally three schools
dog.
reign in that division. You got Penn State, Michigan, and you got Ohio State. So how are you going to compete with that? I mean, if you can't play defense in that division, you see what happens to Ohio State
Dog.
every year.
Yes, and by the way, the 5-star quarterback Malachi Nelson, who decommitted to Oklahoma, who went to USC, he's now in the transfer portal. So we don't know where he's going to go, but his days at USC might be numbered. But I think with Caleb Williams, I still believe he's going to be the number 1 overall pick because of all the comparisons between him and Patrick Mahomes. Do I think he's going to be Patrick Mahomes? No. Just let him be the best Caleb Williams that he can
No.
be and go from there.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I think it depends on who you draft, who you build around. When you look at, go ahead, Brandon.
All I know is Bo Nix better. But hey,
Stop it when you lost to Washington twice. Okay, it got so frustrating for you that you almost tried to slap the
Why you
kicker.
say that? Why you had to say that?
He almost tried to slap the kicker. He almost tried to slap the kicker.
It was like, okay, Michael Penix Jr. I was like, okay,
I'm just saying,
Michael Penix Jr.
like
I see your argument.
as a talent standpoint, Bo Nix is top 4 as a talent standpoint.
Hold on. Talent standpoint. Do you remember him at Auburn? He was terrible at Auburn.
Here we go.
Yeah, but that's a whole. But Trey, to his credit,
but Trey, that's an entirely different
ball
situation.
game, and let's not forget he beat Alabama when he was at Auburn. So people don't want to talk about that.
And he had
No, champ. You've also forgot something. His very first start at Auburn, he beat his boy, Brandon's boy, Justin Herbert.
Yeah, he did.
So he beat Auburn. He beat Alabama at the time when Alabama was at the height of its power.
And he did that with no help.
Now I see why he said. Because Bo Nix went to Oregon.
All right, but
He went to Oregon because he knew he wasn't going to do that ever again against Alabama.
No, he didn't. He couldn't deal with SEC. That's entirely different competition. But champ, we mentioned Washington. Could they look for a quarterback? Maybe because of Jacoby Brissett, but I wouldn't rule out Jaden Daniels. I wouldn't rule that out. Because again, remember, it would kind of give me some reminiscent of the good old RG3 days. Now he's not as athletic as RG3, but whew, my God, that would be nice though. I mean, Chocolate City. But I digress. Anyway, Trey, I'm gonna let you go first. Dolphins, Ravens. Ravens are 3.5-point favorites.
I'm gonna go Ravens.
Okay, Rod.
I'm gonna go against the grain, and I'm going with my man, the Cheetah, Miami.
Brandon.
Ravens.
Champ.
Jalen Waddle has been ruled out. So all the attention is going to be on the great Tyreek Hill. And they're going to surround him for the whole game. Baltimore's going to take it home. They're going to wrap up this division in the first round bye. And they're going to move on to the playoffs.
As a matter of fact, it's going to be a blowout. I'm not even going to lie.
Well, Champ, I think, and also, too, with Baltimore, they're going to have to figure out a way to stop the run as well.
I mean, yeah, they're gonna have to figure out a way to stop the run because the thing is, people don't realize this. Christian McCaffrey had over 100 yards on him last week.
Yes.
Granted, it was in garbage time.
But my thing with the Dolphins is, and this is what I said about the 49ers. I said you're not gonna be able to stop Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey gonna get his. Long as Debo, Brandon Ayuk don't get theirs, you good. A-Chain, you ain't got to worry about A-Chain. A-Chain gonna get his. Long
up,
as
Harrison?
Tyreek
What up?
gonna get his, that's fine.
All right. Harrison, Dolphins, Ravens. Who you got?
I'm going with the Dolphins. I mean, not
Mm.
Dolphins. Not the Dolphins. Sorry, I'm going with the Ravens. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Now I got Ravens in this one. I think if Lamar wins this one, and if he plays outstanding, then I think he's going to wrap up the MVP. But I agree with Rod's point. I think if it's any year to give it to a non-quarterback, it's this year. Next one, I think all of us will agree. We got the Bills over the Patriots.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
No, that's a definite.
Unless the Buffalo Bills just go out there and play completely stupid.
All right, next one right here. Interesting one for Champ, unfortunately. Falcons at Bears. Now, Champ,
Oh.
I think Taylor Heineke is starting after how well he played last week. You've been on the record saying that you don't trust Desmond Ritter. He couldn't even pass greens, even if you feed him refried beans.
Hey, the bad thing, I was sitting there talking to him when he made that up too. I was like, man, that's
Yeah, he could like that.
Bro, I was diehard laughing. I was like, let me check Atlanta.
Yeah, he can't.
Atlanta.
Yeah, like I said, he can't pass gas if you fed him beans all night. But I digress. But hey, huge victory over the Indianapolis Colts last week. Nobody think we can do it. So guess what? Rise up again this week.
All
Who y'all
right,
play?
Chicago.
Oh, give me
I'm
the
gonna
Bears.
go with Justin Fields has been playing pretty well lately. I actually thought he looked kind of good in that game against the Browns, but the wide receivers, boy, they dropping passes. Rod,
where are they playing? They playing in Atlanta?
no, that's Chicago,
I was gonna actually
the
go with
Windy
Atlanta
City,
on
and Chicago is a 2.5-point favorite.
that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Chicago on this one, even though I don't trust them. I trust Atlanta even less. Sorry.
All right, Trey.
I'm gonna have to go with Chicago, Atlanta. Go to Chicago? Oh no! This time of year? Nope. I'm going with Chicago.
Harrison.
What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm going with Chicago. It's at home.
All right. Raiders at Colts. The Colts are 3.5-point favorites. The Raiders are coming off a Christmas victory on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. Antonio Pierce has done a very good job of turning around this team in the aftermath of Josh McDaniels' departure. I'm going to go pick the Raiders in this one. What's y'all picks?
I'm with you, PSP.
I'm going. The man, the myth, the legend, Michael Pittman is back.
All right.
Michael Pittman. So give me Colts.
Rod?
I think they still riding high, so I'm gonna go with Oakland on this one.
Trey?
Oh, I'm gonna have to go with Minshew Mania, baby.
With the hair.
Yeah.
Champ.
The Raiders.
There you go. Unfortunately, Harrison, this is for I'm gonna let Harrison and Brandon go after. Panthers at Jaguars. Jaguars are 4-point favorites.
T-Law's out. Give me the Panthers.
T-Law's out?
T-Law's out, man. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brandon.
Oh, T-Law's out. Oh, give me the Jaguars. I'm playing.
T-Law's out and he's still with Jaguars. I'm very confused. I'm really confused on this one.
I'm starting to be more convinced than ever. Brandon is becoming a closet Trevor Lawrence fan. He is starting to treat Trevor Lawrence like Mookie is treating Justin Herbert. That is how I feel what he's doing.
No, that was just petty as hell.
I'm
Nah,
not gonna
nah. I
lie.
go Panthers. I go Panthers.
I'm not gonna lie. Bryce Young's actually doing pretty well for the past 2 games. I
He
mean, if
almost beat the Packers though.
yeah, and
So
we got butt fucked by the refs. I mean, we don't know what the definition of a catch is anymore.
Are
So
the Jags in the playoff picture though?
They're about to be
yes,
out there
sir.
past this Sunday.
They
them,
hanging
the
on by a
Colts,
thread.
but here's the thing though: the Jags, the Colts, and the Texans, they're all tied for 87.
Oh wow.
So, yep.
Sorry,
Is
Texans,
it, but Rod,
I'm gonna go Carolina on this one.
Yeah, buddy.
No T Law is kind of hurting me, man. That
Trey?
Sunshine, that's my man Sunshine.
I'm gonna go with the Panthers. Trevor Lawrence ain't playing. Oh no, they in trouble.
T
Champ?
mid.
I hate to do this, but I gotta go with the Panthers.
Yeah, buddy.
Panthers it is, and Brandon, I'm gonna have to send you a ticket to Jacksonville, Florida. You're gonna have to start hanging out with Trevor Lawrence.
Oh Lord. I would take a picture with him.
Yeah, I know you would. Next one here. Titans at the Texans. Fortunately for Houston fans, CJ Stroud will be back coming
Yes,
off the
sir.
concussion. He still has a chance for Rookie of the Year, although you could make an argument for Puka Nacua. Houston has to win this one to keep their playoff hopes alive. Although Will Levis, he will play. Will Levis, the mailman, for those who may not know, put mayonnaise in his coffee.
Stop!
try
Stop!
that at
Stop!
home.
Stop!
Folks, don't
Stop.
try that at home. I'm gonna go with Houston in this one.
Yeah, I got Texas.
Harrison,
I'm going with Houston.
Rod,
I'm going with. I do not trust Will Levis at all. And every time I bet on him to win, he just doesn't. I'm going. CJ Stroud.
Trey,
Texans.
Champ.
Texans.
I'm gonna go with Texans, but you can't go wrong with Will Levis. There you go. Well, anyway, let's move on to a next one right here. Rams at Giants. Rams are 5.5-point favorites. Tommy DeVito got yanked in for last week's game against the Eagles. Tyrod Taylor actually looked pretty good, but I'm gonna go with the Rams in this one. I think Puka Nacua is gonna go off.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with the. I'm still keeping on my take so far that the Packers and the Rams make the playoffs. So I'm still going to keep that take on. So give me the Rams.
Rod,
They do. Are they starting Danny DeVito? Because I need
Tommy
Danny
DeVito.
No, I like calling him Danny.
Why you call him Danny?
It's more famous.
Okay.
What?
Danny DeVito, really? The little short dude.
I know, but like, oh,
Come
never
on,
mind.
Danny DeVito.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay, my fault.
We don't know who exactly is starting, so they haven't made a decision on that yet.
I'm gonna go Giants on this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Giants.
Harrison,
Going with the Rams on this one. Still keeping my take.
Trey,
Well, let's see. I'm going with Puka Nacua and Cooper Cup.
Brandon,
Yeah, I go with the Rams.
Champ.
Rams.
All right, and I go with Rams. Cardinals at Eagles. Philly
Oh.
is a 12-point favorite. I get to see two of my OU quarterbacks go at each other, Kyler and Jalen. Eagles should win this one, but the
Yeah.
Eagles, they have not been looking at their best. They
Nope.
need to keep this win in order to still stay on top of the NFC East. So who y'all got?
Eagles.
Harrison?
I'm going with the Eagles, but I think it's gonna be by less than 10 points.
Rod?
I got the fraudulent Sheagles.
Trey?
I got the Eagles, but 12 4.5 points. Yeah, I might want to look at that again.
Champ.
Eagles.
And I got Eagles as well. Next one right here. This is for Champ. Saints at Buccaneers. Who you got, man?
I'm taking Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Go for it all, Baker.
Trey?
Baker.
Harrison?
Ah, man. How much I've been shitting on Baker, but goddamn, that dude's been hot recently. It's been hotter like a stove. But I'm going with Baker. I'm going with Baker Shitfield.
Brandon?
That's so crazy. But give me Baker.
Rod?
Yeah, let me go ahead and give me some apple pie. Give me Baker.
All I'm going to do is one thing and one thing only.
Bring it up. Bring it up.
Yeah, get that.
Although my
Get that
OU
OU.
Sooners, they got embarrassed by the Arizona Wildcats, and that's a story for another day. But my boy Baker Mayfield, 26 touchdown passes to only 8 interceptions this season. He's been playing very well, and to Champ's point, definitely in the conversation for comeback player of the year. Definitely so. And should make the Pro Bowl this season.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion. Brandon, I'm gonna let you go on this one. Seattle going up against Pittsburgh, and it's at Seattle.
Oh, Seahawks. What we doing here? Give me the Seahawks.
Harrison.
Brandon, I love you, brother, but
There's no way.
I think Pittsburgh's gonna win this one.
Oh my god.
I just think that just because the way that Mason Rudolph played last week against Cincinnati, it was amazing. If he does that again and win outright, ooh, I'm going with Pittsburgh on this one by a field goal.
Trip.
All right, Rod.
No, I'm gonna stick with Gino.
Trey.
Let's see. Pittsburgh versus Seattle. Who am I taking? I don't trust that defense, so I'm taking Seattle.
Champ.
The 12th man.
Yeah.
12th man. But I'd be surprised as hell. Mason Rudolph has another great game. Interesting one right here. Bengals at Chiefs. Kansas City is a 6.5 point favorite. I'm going to go first, and I'm going to go pick the Bengals in this one.
Yeah, that's what I'm going.
Harrison.
Oh man, that's a tough one. Jake Browning, man. Shout out to Washington, by the way. He went to Washington, by the way. So, I'm going with the Chiefs. It's at home.
Champ.
I'll take the Chiefs.
Brandon.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bengals.
Leaf. Bengals Chiefs.
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. They need this game. They desperately need this. I'm gonna go Chiefs.
Trey.
Well, all I got to say is no Jamar Chase. I'm going with the Chiefs.
And Rod.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Chiefs.
Wait, hold on. Jamar Chase might be playing. I think he is.
Man, who they got a quarterback?
Jake Browning.
Jake Browning hasn't been that
Browning's
bad.
not bad. Jake Browning's nice. He's not terrible.
I mean, I just think Kansas City need this game, bro. Like they coming off that Raiders loss, that was terrible, bro. Like they need this game.
Bro, I was laughing. That was the best.
Oh yeah, that was
Christmas
very
gift
laughable. That was very laughable, bro. You can't lose to the Raiders this late in the season, bro. Like
As Chris Collinworth always says, that was an exit perfect throw by Mahomes.
All right, guys, let's move on to the next one. Chargers at Broncos. Now, again, this is without Russell Wilson.
Oh yeah.
It's actually
Hey,
you know what?
it's a tough one because
I'm still going
they don't got
Chargers.
They don't got hurt. They don't got Herbert. If they had Herbert, I would pick the Chargers.
I'm
I
going
got.
Chargers.
Listen, this was gonna be my 1 week where I actually picked whatchamacallit, but I gotta pick the Chargers anyway, man. Oh, I got the Chargers.
Harrison.
Jared Stim's gonna say Broncos country. That's right.
And it,
I'm going with
no,
the Broncos. I'm going
Brandon?
with the Broncos on this one.
I'm actually going Chargers.
Rod.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
So
Champ.
wait.
What?
I was gonna say PSP. So the funny thing is that they played him the entire time with knowing that they were gonna go forward with like a future quarterback the entire time. So they plan on actually waiving him in this offseason.
Yes, Diana Rossini from The Athletic reported that they are expected to cut him. It was because of the guaranteed in 2025. Russ even confirmed it to the media that during the bye week, they wanted him to reconstruct the contract, and he refused to do that.
Well, bye, Russ.
It's a little bit of both. It's just
Okay.
it's both.
It's called good riddance.
Leave. Come on, we ain't getting there. Come on.
Stop doing that. Leave. Stop.
No, I'm not stopping it. I'm not stopping it.
Leave.
Not
Come on.
tonight.
That's
Don't.
just crazy.
Trey. Stop. Come on, champ. Come on.
All right, gentlemen. I really and truly hope that the Chargers come out and just knock the Broncos out of playoff contention after that stunt they pulled. So I'm just gonna go with the Chargers out of spite. Because guess what? Hey, you had a chance, you bitched your starring quarterback with a chance to not only go to the playoffs, but to clinch the division with how weak the Kansas City Chiefs are right now. That's what you had a chance to do, and you squandered all of that. Please. Hey, Chargers, charge them up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go with champ in this one. And Leaf, I'm going to let you go first. Sunday Night Football, Packers at Vikings at Minnesota, and Minnesota's a 1-point favorite.
Oh my God, they would give us them damn clown ass Vikings. Oh my God. I don't know how. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how we gonna win this game. We gave up 30 points to the Panthers and we almost lost that game, bro. Like, listen.
What is a catch, by the way?
You said what?
What's a catch? Because I don't know. That Romeo Doubs catch was not a catch for some reason.
I don't think it was neither. But at the same time, bro, like I guess when we playing teams that's like less than with like to a tie, they're basically going to give us the benefit of the doubt 9 times out of 10. I mean, so I mean, the Romeo Doubs catch wasn't a catch, to be honest with you. But I mean, we gotta wait. We gotta wait with one, bro. Like, I think we just gotta wait till next year. I don't know how we win this game, so I'm going with the Vikings, man. Like, yeah.
All right. Harrison?
Leave. I gotta keep with my take here, man. I'm going with Green Bay on this one.
Why?
I'm still having my take. I've been saying this for the past almost. PSP can claim me on this. I've been saying this for almost a month now. I think
you think we could get in the playoffs?
Rams and Packers are making the playoffs. So give me Green Bay.
I think that our solidified chance to make the playoffs died when Tommy DeVito sent some Italians to Jordan Love's home the night before that game, and then he ain't been the same since, man. The play calling is obviously mid to lackluster at times, man. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know how we win this game, man. I don't.
All right. Rod?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the gritty on you. Give me them Vikings.
Trey?
I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Vikings because Nick been balling. If you watch that Bengals game, he was throwing some bullshit. the receivers was catching it. It's like, damn.
You talking about Kirk Cousins?
Nick Mullins.
Nick
No,
Mullins.
Nick Mullins is bench. He is
Yeah, he's benched.
I forgot his name. Jared McCain. No, not Jared McCain. Sorry, I was thinking about Duke basketball.
Barry
Some.
Hall.
Yeah, I think that's his name. I think he went to Texas A&M.
This is definitely the year to back up. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah.
Champ.
Hey, people throwing shots at Jordan Love, but remember what I said. Neither of the legendary starting quarterbacks, other than Bart Starr, ever made the playoffs their first year in Green Bay. So, with that being said, I will be taking the Green Bay Packers.
I'm gonna go with the Packers.
Man, I hope you're
All
all right, man. But
All right, let's move on to a topic that I love to do. We're gonna do some start, benches, and cuts. We're gonna do a football one right here. Rod, I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay. Who we got here? Who we got?
Bijan Robinson on the left, Austin Eckler on the right, in the middle, and Travis Etienne on the right.
I'm gonna start Etienne. I'm a bench Bijan because he's young.
Okay.
Only because he's young and he's got an opportunity to show that he can do something. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut Eckler. I don't think he's a bad running back. I just, with the youth, I don't think he's got much left.
I agree there. Harrison?
Yeah, it's the same thing with that order. I mean, starting Bijan, benching Travis Etienne, and cutting Eckler.
Okay, you want opposite what I said.
Leaf?
I'm gonna start Bijan because I was very high on Bijan coming out of the draft from the second that I seen him, and we're gonna sit Travis and Eckler. Sorry, man, you gotta get cut.
All right, Trey?
Let's see. Start ETN, bench Bijan, and cut Eckler. Boy, Eckler is just Eckler. He's starting to fall off fast.
Champ?
I'm starting Bijan, benching ATN, cutting Eckler.
I'm gonna start Bijan because I think he's the more dynamic running back. He has like the higher upside, higher ceiling. I'm betting Travis Etienne, but Travis Etienne though is nice, and he's definitely been beneficial for the Jaguars, especially how Trevor Lawrence has been playing this season. And I'm cutting Eckler because I feel like I can get more running backs than Eckler at this point. That's just me. All right, we're gonna do another start, bench, and cut. It's a sports debating ones.
Oh shit!
Oh, please, this is easy.
This is
Go ahead, Trey.
That's definitely easy for me.
Go ahead, Trey.
I'm gonna start Skip Bayless. I'm benching Max Kellerman, and I'm cutting Jay Reddick.
No fucking way you start. Oh, that's just crazy. Don't ever disrespect my personal goat.
Leaf?
I'm gonna start Max Kellerman because I think Max Kellerman, his boxing analyst is crazy good, man. I think he's literally the boxing guy. I think his boxing analyst outrange just about anything anybody else that specializes in. I'm a bench JJ because JJ, even though JJ is he can be, he can be subjective a lot of times.
Wait, hold on, Leaf. You couldn't skip?
Yeah, I'm cutting Skip. Yeah, Skip is a hack writer, bro. I ain't like everybody know how Skip got into Bauer. Skip was writing a whole bunch of Skip is a hack writer, bro. his claim to fame was writing about
Troy
a
Aikman.
whole bunch of bad stuff about Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith during those '90s days with Dallas, man. Like it's a lot of stuff, man, like that he put out there that wasn't true. And yeah, he's a hack writer, bro. Like nobody, I don't got respect for him.
All
Cut
right,
it.
Rod.
Yeah, I'm agree with Leaf. I don't like Skip. He keeps saying he a Cowboys fan, but the stuff he's done in the past doesn't make any kind of sense to me. Yeah,
Harrison.
nah.
Oh man, I'm starting my personal goat JJ Redick, and I'm cutting Skip Bayless, and I'm benching. Who was the other guy again?
Max Kellerman.
Max Hellman, yeah.
All right, Champ.
Mm, mm, mm. Mm-mm-mm. Hey, we might not like Skip Bayless, but his track record speaks for itself. So, based on credentials, I got to start Skip Bayless. Now, here's where the tricky part comes in. Because piggybacking on what Lee said, I love Max Kellerman boxing analytics. You're not going to find other than the late great Burt Sugar himself and Larry Merchant, you're not going to find a better boxing analyst than Max Kellerman. But unfortunately, you got to go Max. I'm taking JJ. I'm benching JJ, and I'm cutting Max.
Okay, at least you're not cutting JJ. My personal goat. That would be really disrespectful.
Champ, there's
Unlike
also,
Trey.
Champ, there's another great person who knows his boxing.
Yeah, I cut JJ because I'm like, dog.
Trey. There's another person that Champ forgot as far as boxing. Jim Lampton.
Yeah, Jim Lampton.
Yeah. Boy, this is a tough one for me. I can't stand Skip Bayless. But I'm always going to be tuned in to what he has to say. So I'm going to start him because based on credentials. But to Leaf's point, I do think he is shady. And I think not just what he did with Troy Aikman, with a lot of other players. I think the lowest moment in Skip Bayless's career, how he talked about Dak Prescott when Dak Prescott opened up about his mental health and a lot of other problems. And I also thought that Skip, he's learning the hard way because even though Keyshawn Johnson, Richard Sherman, and Michael Irvin are there, they ain't no Shannon Sharp. And we see how First Take, Champ, if I'm wrong, First Take's ratings are much better than Undisputed.
Soaring.
But that's not. But I even said like, dog. At this point, they should just go ahead and just fire Stephen A. and just keep chatting.
I don't think that's going to happen.
That's not going to happen. And plus, Stephen A. has been the
Stephen A. been on the hot seat a bunch of times, but that ain't going to happen.
But he wants more money though, so we'll see. But because of Champ's point, I'm gonna start Skip. Unfortunately, Harrison, I'm benching Max Kellerman because I can't disregard Max Kellerman's boxing analyst. I love what he did on HBO, how he covered some of the fights. I love Max on boxing. I thought what Stephen A. Smith did to Max Kellerman, particularly the last couple of years, I thought that was wrong. I'm still shocked to this day that Max Kellerman still without a job. Still to this day without a job. I hope he goes on Showtime or any other show where he can do some boxing, have a podcast or something. I also love Max Kellerman because of.
Oh, wasn't he the dude? When she said like game 3, game on the line. And he said
yes. He also said that he would take Kawhi over Kobe. Although Max has said a lot of crazy takes before, but we all have said crazy takes. I'm still shocked to this day that Max Go ahead, Trey.
I still never forget what T.O. said when he came on the First Take. He told Stephen A., man, Max Kellerman is more blacker than you.
Trey,
he definitely did say that.
Trey, come on, man. We ain't going there.
No, that's crazy.
I ain't gonna lie.
That's just
That was out of
that's
bounds.
just
That was out of
that,
bounds.
that was out of that was out of the
that was
court.
that was out of bounds. That should have never been said. But
That was out of the court.
yeah, we digress there. But I've always said before, man, Max Kellerman is a necessity, especially to boxing champ. I think he should have a podcast or something. It's still sad that he's out of a job, and unfortunately, I'm sorry, Harrison, I gotta cut JJ. But I will say this: JJ is one of my favorite basketball analysts. I love when he and Jay Williams they go on First Take and they go after Stephen A. Smith, particularly in his takes
Two
with
Duke
basketball.
legends, man.
Oh,
Two Duke
absolutely.
legends.
All right, let's do some food ones real quick, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Ooh.
Now, again, just for context, it doesn't have to be Fritos, chili cheese, Ruffles, cheddar and sour cream, Doritos, Cool Ranch. You have a choice between Fritos, Ruffles, or Doritos. Which one you starting, benching, and cutting?
I'll be honest
I'll
with
go.
you. Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, I go. So I'm gonna go ahead and start Ruffles cheddar sour cream. I'm sorry, it has to be Ruffles cheddar sour cream. Other than that, I can't deal with it. I'm a bench Doritos. First off, I have cheddar and sour cream chips sitting on my table right now. That's my guarantee.
Good for you,
That's my
man.
guarantee
Congrats,
right
bro.
now.
There it is. There it is.
That's
There
my
it is.
chip. I don't care about nobody else.
There it
And
is.
I'm gonna have to cut the Fritos. Sorry, man. I just can't. I can't. do
Leaf,
it.
you want to go?
That's the same exact thing, bro. Like them stink ass Fritos. Get them joints out of here. They cut. And Doritos, yeah, they might be my second favorite to Ruffles. Ruffles, they got some underrated chips. Yeah, I'm gonna take Ruffles first, Doritos second, and yeah, them Fritos could go.
Harrison.
I feel like you guys are gonna get mad at me. I'm gonna start Doritos. I'm benching
not bad.
Ruffles. I'm
Okay.
benching Ruffles, and I'm cutting
Not bad.
the other. I kind of forgot the other one.
I'm not starting no
Fritos.
Cool Ranches. I know
Fritos.
that.
Yeah, I'm cutting Fritos.
No, Leaf, just be clear. It's just Fritos, Doritos, Ruffles.
Right.
It's just not that exact.
Not the flavors. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Trey.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm going to start nacho cheese Doritos. I'm a bench the rough. I'm a bench the Ruffles.
Them cheddar
I'm a
Ruffles you
bench.
benching on?
I'm benching the Ruffles, not the cheddar, the cheddar sour cream kind, but the sour cream kind. And Fritos, no, get them
Definitely
out of
not.
here.
Yep, get them out. They got to
Big
go.
Champ. Talk to me.
Hey man, I'm gonna ask y'all this, a question to the panel. Y'all ever notice when your mom bought that big old pack of chips from Sam?
Yeah.
Yup.
Fritos was the last
Oh
to go.
yeah,
Last
man.
one was Fritos.
Fritos
The
was
last
the
one
to
was
go.
always the Fritos.
Yep.
Nobody ate them. Matter of
Nobody.
fact, the only time I ever heard somebody talk about chili Fritos was on Friday when the
Yep.
young dude came to the truck with
Yeah.
Big Worm. But I digress.
Exactly.
So that's automatically
That's a
getting cut
fact.
at this point. The Fritos is, hey, you can't get better than a bag of Doritos, especially back in my day when they was 25 cents a piece. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Those were
back
the
in the
good
day
old
when they-
days, wasn't it? Wasn't it, Champ?
Yeah, back in the day when they was 25
When
cents
they
a
was
piece.
25 cents a piece.
Yes.
Oh man.
You go to
They
you go to
robbing
the,
y'all now. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
yeah, you go to the store with
Oh,
$1, you
$3.
get them one of them
You get
old town
4
meal soda.
bags.
Yeah, get you 4 bags and an old town meal soda. So I'm
Yep.
starting Doritos, bench of Ruffles, and them chili Fritos. We all left them in the pack anyway. So I mean,
Leave them joints right there.
Yeah.
And as for me, I ain't gonna lie. Right after work, I go to the local 7-Eleven right next to my job. I buy a big bag of them Ruffles chips. I walk on my way home. I buy a big bag of them Ruffles chips, them cheddar sour cream, and them Quavos. Them Quavos are good though. If you
Like
actually
the PSP, like
Yep.
the family sized one, or
hell yeah, I buy a big ass bag of Ruffles and shit. Ruffles Doritos. I'm starting Ruffles. I'm benching Doritos with the nacho cheese, and I'm cutting in damn Fritos. Throw them out. I don't want them. They
Bro,
taste
it's
Don't,
trash.
bro's
don't
gonna be
nobody, no
like
nobody want
sleeping
them.
in. Bro's gonna be like sleeping in, just like shoving it in his.
They ain't got
in
no
those
flavor.
Ruffles.
They ain't got
No,
no
they don't. I
flavor.
mean,
They have
and
no
then
flavor.
They say
everybody
flavor
knows,
is stank.
bro. Let me tell you something. When they tell you your feet smell like Fritos, that's exactly what they talk about. Them stinking chips right there, bro.
Ew, 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 bro,
But
ew.
when it comes to the Doritos, I'm gonna take y'all back. Who remembers the Doritos 3D?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yes.
remember those.
Yeah, facts.
Oh, that was like back. I don't know what year. Trey, what year was that, man?
That was around 98.
98, yeah.
Oh hell, I
I
think I
remember
learned
those.
that in school, in
Those was like
elementary
late
school.
90s, yeah. Those was late 90s, yeah.
Yeah,
I
back
remember
then
those.
a lot of stuff coming up.
Yeah,
All
I think
right,
I've
guys.
learned that.
All right, guys. One last one right here. This is a food one.
One last
Oh
one. Let's see.
man.
Oh
Uh,
damn. Oh
I'm
damn.
not gonna lie, Cinnabons,
That's too
bro.
easy.
Like they got that smell that'll call you to their restaurant.
Yup.
Leave.
That's
It's like
Oh
too easy.
god, bro.
it's
Leave.
That's
Oh
too
as
easy.
soon as you
god.
sniff that shit, you be like,
Cinnabon.
what the hell? Hey yo, hold up, bro. Hey yo,
The
bro,
whole
this way,
mall
this way,
smell
this
like
way, this
Cinnabon.
way. Yo, hold up, turn this corner, turn this corner.
you can be walking through. You can be there, be
You
walking
could be
through the
minding your
mall, and
business,
you
bro,
just
in the
smell
mall.
Cinnabon. You be like, "What's that smell, man?" Oh,
Do I got 20 in my pocket? I need to make sure I got 20 if I get this
Mhm.
Cinnabon thing.
Facts.
About here, boy.
That'll make that. I
Leave.
ain't gonna lie.
Hey,
That'll make
leave.
you.
Oh god, bro. Every single time when I walk to the mall, man, it's just like, man, what is that incredible smell? It's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, damn. I don't know.
it's
I'm
almost
stuck.
like if I had to describe it, it's almost like the Krispy Kreme when they got the hot sign up.
Hassan, you got to
Oh
stop.
man.
Trey, wait, Trey, let me ask you a question. Describe
Trey,
that
when you see
smell.
that red light, that hot sign, you got to stop.
Wait, Trey, so let me ask you a question. Describe that in one word. One word only.
It's the most. It's like it's almost like a drug. It's addictive.
I ain't gonna lie. I don't know what they got in. I don't know what they got in them cinnamon buns or whatever.
Cinnamon rolls.
Whatever's
Yeah.
cinnamon rolls, man.
Bro
Listen,
doesn't know how to. He can't even talk.
It's
Bro can't talk
addicting.
right now.
It's addicting.
very addicting.
Champ.
Oh man. What's so funny is I got both of them in the mall right now.
I do
Same
too.
here.
I got both of them in the mall. I guarantee you, Auntie
Yeah.
Annie's is not being picked
So,
before Cinnabons.
and it's not in this case either because the minute I walk in the mall, I walk in the Cinnabon side just so I can walk out and grab me one every time I go there. That's the reason why I ain't been to the mall lately because every time I go in there, I got to get me at least one or two coming out of there. So, yeah, I got to go with Cinnabon, man. Cinnabon, especially when you put the extra caramel on there and they get it hot out the oven for you.
Mhm.
And then, bro, let me tell you something.
Hey man, stop talking about that right now.
And then not only
I ain't
that,
gonna lie.
bro.
You want to make me crazy. You want to make me champ out in the mall, bro. I ain't gonna
And
lie.
then not only that, bro. If you
I'm about
ever
to pull my car right up, bro. Like, yo, they giving me this.
And then if you ever
food
want to just
sweat.
get you some butter pecan ice cream and stick on top of that bad boy, it's lovely.
It is. This ain't even a no brainer. I'm picking Cinnabon. I tell my mom all the time when she's at the mall, buy me some Cinnabon. Buy me 4 packs of them Cinnabons. Give me some of that extra caramel, that extra icing. You put it in like the oven for like a good couple of minutes. That's good. And if you put it with some whipped cream on it and stuff, that's good. But Leaf, I don't know what they put, but it is addicting.
I don't know what it is. It gotta be
Like
something
Trey
that
says,
it's
the
gotta be.
drug.
It's gotta be something that's not deemed illegal, but it's supposed to be illegal, bro. Like, it's gotta be. Ain't no way.
Well, I know Rick James wasn't talking about sugar when he said this, but sugar is a hell of a drug.
Oh, when you're
Yeah.
like 12 years old, I mean, like, man,
Yeah. But I
bouncing
go
off
to
the
the
walls.
But I go to
Sorry.
the mall all the time, man. Cinnabon is the spot for me. Auntie Annie's ain't that bad, but you ain't taking that over Cinnabon.
Yeah, I'm not. I
Now I take
refuse.
their lemonade over Cinnabon. Now they lemonade.
No, that's a
I ain't
different
gonna lie,
story there.
they eliminate is a different story, bro. Like,
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
I know where I'm going to get the actual stuff first. Then we gonna go get the drink afterwards, bro. I'm like, yo, hey,
But leave.
and I'm a lemonade fan, bro. I'm not gonna hold you. But I'm a lemonade fan, but that lemonade, bro, that's second to what I need to get first from the Cinnabons, bro. I go to
Believe you.
Cinnabon. I'm the
Believe
type to
you
go to
live in New.
Cinnabons, bro. Listen, if a chick is standing next to me. And I ain't gonna lie, and she got the buns on her. I'm like looking at, I'm like, oh, man, listen, she coming second, bro. All that, bro.
Wait, what?
Okay,
getting
leave.
these.
We can't go that far, but they got a
I
Cinnabon
can't.
at the mall.
Yes, they do. Right
Okay.
at Kings Plaza Mall in Brooklyn. That's over in the Flatbush area. That's it's going towards Coney Island, Marine Park area in Brooklyn, New York.
Bro's gonna wake up in the morning and be like, man, I want some cinnamon buns.
Hey man, they still got the they still got the little Ferris wheel at Coney Island or whatever.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they still
Okay,
do.
I need to. I ain't never been to New York. I need to come up there.
Yeah, they still got it, man. I mean, they had it for years. I mean, Coney Island is basically mainly for tourists now, especially today, man. Like in the summertime, that's a tourist spot. But like, yeah. So like, yeah, sometime, man, bro, put Coney Island on your list, man, because I'm gonna probably be out of Brooklyn by that time anyway, man. I'm about to relocate. I'm trying to go down south. I'm trying to Texas is the new location for me.
Hey, say what you want about down south. Nobody retires and go up north.
Wait, Leaf, where are you going down? Wait, Leaf, where are you going down south? Like North Carolina? Or?
I'm gonna be in close to Lubbock, Texas. That's Texas Tech
Oh, okay,
University.
that's not bad. Okay, that's not bad.
And plus, Texas state with no income taxes.
No income tax.
Yeah, no income. I wanted to go to Vegas, but Vegas is they.
Hell no, bro.
Please
don't do that, man.
They got no income tax, but the one thing I can't stand about Texas is the damn heat.
Oh yeah.
If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, brother.
But Leaf,
I put it to you this way. I would rather, and I can't say this with an excellent doubt, but I've been in Vegas in the middle of July, 120 during the day, 90 something at night. That dry heat is no joke, bro. Like, and I'm not.
You're gonna have to stay. Man. You're gonna have to stay hydrated, but
yeah, Texas ain't in them hotels. Like
but Leaf.
It
Texas
like when you
shabby.
go up west.
Yeah, but Leaf.
Yeah,
Texas weather
said, but
ain't that shit. You're gonna have to deal with Texas weather, man. Particularly where you live in, man.
Yeah, I know. I mean, listen, I'm gonna work.
Thank God you ain't got to deal with South Beach weather. If you deal with Miami, that's hell of a weather.
I mean, South Beach. Yeah. I mean, listen, at Florida at this, Florida post COVID, man. I'm like, I got to give it a couple more years. I don't know, man. I don't know if I could just.
Champ will tell you it's hot in Florida.
It's hot as
listen,
hell.
I'm sure it is.
Yep, I've been there.
At the same time, I'm gonna have to give it a couple more years, man, before I give Florida like a legitimate place of recognition, bro. Like obviously, there's a lot of people that move from New York to Florida, New York to Georgia, and everything.
It's simple. Two reasons: Leave. One, no state income taxes, and two, people want to deal with warm weather. I tried telling my grandma, do not go to Pittsburgh. Why would you go to Pittsburgh knowing that you're from Florida? You can't wear certain clothes in the winter like you do in Florida in Pittsburgh. You can't do that there. So I tried to tell her. Man, you can't go to Pittsburgh.
That's very bad relocation right there. I ain't gonna lie to you. But you got to do a whole.
I'm gonna say when it comes,
some of those things, bro. Some of those places you got to do a different You got to switch your whole wardrobe. Like for real. Like I'm about ready to do that with New York to Texas.
But
I'm gonna just say this.
Go ahead, Trey.
When Cat Williams said when you go to Chicago, you got to buy your coat from Chicago for Chicago. Oh, he wasn't bullshitting at all.
But Leaf, if you interested, I don't know if you're interested in Haitian food. They got some good Haitian food in Miami.
Good Haitian food in Miami. I got to get down to Miami first. I still ain't been. I tried to go to Miami my last year in high school for spring break, we ended up in Tampa, and we actually had a good time. A couple of old heads, man, that put us with the massage parlor. My homie ain't want to leave. His girlfriend was calling us off the hook, like, "What is going on down there?" It was like nothing.
All right. Anyway, that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. I appreciate the panel for hopping on. Any final words?
No, nothing. I'm going to bed.
Just for me, just hit 100 subs on my page. I did it all with an iPhone because my whatchamacallit was broken. Shout out to everybody that's subscribed to the page. I do some shows. I do Nets Visual, and I do Leaf. Leaf is the league. Nets Visual is a play-by-play, and Leaf is the league. Is play-by-play. Mostly sports talk. The NBA season is starting to really get underway. This year is almost over. This year, I've been doing a lot this year. On YouTube, just in these YouTube streets or whatever you want to call it. But I wanted to thank everybody. I wanted to for following the page. Shout out to my Brooklyn Nets family. Everybody at the my man Big Fan Breezy page and the BK block with This Is JTV. But shout out to all my Nets family. We took a loss tonight against Washington. And we're going to take some more losses because we play OKC tonight, who just beat the crap out of Denver. And then play New Orleans, and then we got to go to Houston. So, like, that's probably 3 straight losses. So.
And also tell them where to follow you, Leaf.
Follow me at Twitter. It's Leaf4788. YouTube, Leaf4788. And Instagram is Leaf_4788. On those 3 platforms. I'll be on there. Talk all types of sports, man. I try to stay out of the all the other stuff, man. But definitely, the sports talk, man, is starting to grow on me, and then starting to do more of it, man. I do pretty good play-by-plays on my channel as well, man. So YouTube.com at Leaf4788. Definitely find me there, man. Appreciate it, PSP. Appreciate it, champ. I will see you brothers real soon.
Will do. Take it easy, Leaf. Harrison, tell them where to follow you at, man, and any final words.
This same thing as my TikTok right there. That's my username right there. Same thing as my Twitter. And also, JJ Redick is better than Paul Pierce. He's a better shooter than Paul Pierce. And Duke on top. And we're going to win the Natty. And I ain't going to bed. Good night, guys.
Good night, Harrison. Rod, my man, appreciate you for hopping on to the podcast. Also appreciate my guy, Casual, for introducing you, man. Definitely know your football. Definitely know your stuff. Tell them where to follow you at, man.
Just follow us at we just changed up the brand. We were Hoopsters, and we just changed up starting Monday. We are the Vanity Sports debates. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram at Vanity Sports. We're starting big things, and we love the community. We love to give back to you guys and show support to everybody debating across every platform. We enjoy sports on a whole nother level, and we can talk for hours just like we did tonight. And I just enjoy everything that you're doing over here, Sports PSP. Champ, you've been on the show a couple times, and we appreciate you for coming through. I just wanted to show some love to you guys for always being there to support us. We'll support y'all too.
Will do. Appreciate it, man. And Champ, last words, and tell them where to follow you at, man.
Follow me at Undisputed World Champ on TikTok, World Champ _2.0 on Instagram. Hey, gotta say this. Number one, congratulations, PSP. I think you're over 1,000 subscribers right now.
1.14.
Okay, congratulations to you and everyone who is listening and has joined the pod at this point. I wish every last one of you a very prosperous new year, and be safe during the new year. I understand everybody wants to go party, but remember this, and I'm going to sound my age when I say this. You got too much to lose to be playing around. Remember that when you're out there partying. You got too much to lose to be playing around, and you got too much potential to be playing around. So remember that when you're out partying, no one to say it's time to go in. But I wish every last one of you a very, very prosperous new year. And hey, PSP, thank you for always inviting me, brother. It's a privilege to be on here.
Thank you so much, man. Always a pleasure having you on. Rod, thank you for hopping on. Appreciate Brandon. Appreciate Leave. Casual, of course. Trey. Everyone, happy New Year's. Just make sure drink responsibly. If you're drinking, drink responsibly. Have a good time. Be around friends and family. Let's forget about 2023 and let's focus on 2024. Let's focus on something new and the beginning of something great. So as always, appreciate y'all. Y'all know where to find me. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as Sports PSP as well as TikTok Sports PSP3. I'll definitely come out with some more clips, some more videos and stuff. Also check out Champ. His podcast is coming soon, folks. His podcast is coming soon.
Undisputed GOAT.
Undisputed GOAT. You can see it right there. And of course, he is brilliant when it comes to his boxing, his wrestling, football, basketball, every sport, whatever topic Champ discusses on. Always fun to listen to. Appreciate y'all. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Audience, thank y'all again. And we is out. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.